All right. So we're continuing, and this is part two of it before I finish this whole thing. So I'm just gonna quickly say again. Long story short, what happened in the other parts was basically Candice Owens, I believe, like completely badly defended anything related to her position. Like, to be honest, all she had was assumptions. No, not really any facts, but then it was, my assumption is this, therefore the gun was placed there and somebody else did it. And a lot of the past part was she was pinning the blame on Lance Twiggs without any like necessary other things related to Lance Twiggs outside of, oh well, his DNA was on the gun, therefore he's the one who shot it, and therefore Tyler Robinson is a patsy and he was set up. But then also she has communication with Tyler Robinson's family, but also that they can't tell the lawyers nor the media any position that they're in right now, but they can somehow tell Candice Owens, because Candice Owens is obviously a more reliable source than the entire news media as well as the lawyers that are supposed to be defending your son. Basically, there's a lot of inconsistencies, but let's go.
Okay, so we're officially back. Andrew, before we go into the other issues you want to talk about,
Yep.
is it fair to say you're good defending your position of the overwhelming evidence?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. You take the lead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So no traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to ask them direct. And I think that as long as they're not loaded, if they're loaded, you should not respond yes or no. But as long as they're not loaded, if I just directly ask them, I'm hoping that you'll just give me a direct answer. So here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims, and then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a
Oh yeah, that's right. Her, the star of it was basically, do you believe Tyler Robinson did it? And Andrew said 75% to 85%. Candice said 0%. Yeah. There's also that. I have to just keep my 100% shit on that.
conversation with you about other things that I've discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
You literally said that I want to be able to question you.
Well, this is a meta conversation.
Right,
we're having
but
a meta
okay, so
debate.
now we're transcending. Like, let's use a
I mean,
word
there's no-
to
there's
use a
no-
word
nothing
that you're
transcendent.
saying. But this is what you're doing, right? So
Okay.
this part to me feels like a
So
bit of
am I
a.
allowed to ask the questions?
I've already said you can ask questions,
Then
but I
let me
made it
ask
very
them.
clear to you
Yeah.
via email and with you in conversation
Mm-hmm.
that we should be speaking. This
Yeah, I
isn't
know,
like
but
you
I
get to
wanna-
sit.
I wanna
I
ask
said
you
if you
some
want
questions.
to depose me, you should join
I'm not
Brigitte
deposing
Macron's
you.
defense team.
This
But
is
you're
part-
like, I'm
this
just
is
going
a
to ask questions.
legitimate
Can you
part-
answer it? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And
I
I'm
know.
going to
And
answer
if
as
you
I
have
see
issues
fit
with it,
because I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Just
If-
so we're clear.
Usually in the debate, if something's not loaded, I'm just direct with the
Because you kept
question,
saying
with
I'm
the
Joe
answer.
Rogan. They have no evidence.
Yeah.
They have no evidence. And now you're like, let's move away from the evidence.
You
Just talk about
actually,
transcendentals.
yeah, okay. Anyway, so direct question, super easy. Was Lance Twiggs DNA on the rifle, as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So
was-
no, as far as you know.
We can't say that.
That's the thing. As far as she knows, no. It's not like, oh, as far as the evidence. No, it's as far as you know. But like, Lance Twiggs' DNA was found on the screwdriver and the towel, but not really on the gun, if I remember. That's the thing. And then Tyler Robinson's DNA was the majority one found on the gun, except for like a handful of pieces of the gun. The majority of it was his. So that's what we're basically going into right now. And then she's like, no. And then Andrew asked her an easy question. As far as you're aware of, not if it's 100% true. This is just as far as you searched into it, as far as you have the knowledge of what's happening, is his DNA not on the gun? And she's obviously not even answering it.
For certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were on.
So that
there.
would be no as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know
God.
for certain.
We can't say that for certainty. I actually,
You can
I,
say
just so
that
you
for
know,
certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say, you're just going to come up against the wall. I'm
Okay,
familiar with this
but-
debate strategy.
But I
like,
am just
yes or no.
That's not even a, oh my God. That's not even a trick question. That's literally not even a trick question. As far as you know is not, oh, I know every little detail of the topic. It's, to my knowledge, I don't know for certain, and there's not more evidence that has come out. It could be on it, it couldn't be on it, but as of now, we don't know for certain. That's all she should have said. Like, I don't know the full thing. But Jesus Christ.
Oh, yes or no,
you.
yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still
there's-
definitely debating. This is still.
No, it's not a debate.
This is
Now
inclined
this
to
is you
your.
saying I want to probe
Yeah.
things that sit outside of the evidence. I actually already
That you've
addressed this.
stated.
You asked me.
Uh-huh.
You're not going to go like where you're
Okay.
sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
So
let's
you
talk
can
about
have a
the
conversation
let's
as
talk
we've
about the
agreed
French.
to.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
Positive evidence.
It was told to me by somebody who is high up in the French government. I passed.
Yep, and once again, she has another source, which is anonymous. Because, like, every time she's, like, forced to tell it, she always says, oh, I have a source. Like, the other one was that she said she has contact with his family, and then Andrew, when he asked her about the lawyers, and, like, why wouldn't they tell the lawyers in the preliminary trial? Because that would be the best time for them to try and get rid of any, like, doubts or things that could be against it. Like, if they truly believed their son didn't do the crime. Like, why wouldn't they be, like, screaming and on interview saying, my son didn't do this or whatever? But then she's like, oh, it's because they have something that makes it so that they can't tell them. But then she also somehow is responsible for getting private information that is not public told to her, because apparently the Candice Owens show is more trustable than the people supposedly defending your son, who you also don't believe is guilty. But at the same time, Candice Owens is the one who decides whether you believe your son is guilty for you, rather than your actual witness statement, which says you believe that your son is most likely guilty.
Passed off that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office. I also passed it off to Trump's office, Donald Trump's office. And that's
Wait, I want you guys to know too, which is that she believes the U.S. government was in some way, shape involved in this, as well as Israel's government. But the moment she believes she has some credible thing against her, she goes to the people that she believes is helping up cover the crime that Tyler Robinson is, the person who didn't, that Tyler Robinson, who wasn't the person who killed Charlie Kirk. So she's using all her sources and information to trust those same people, even though she's simultaneously also telling you that, oh, they can't be trusted and that the official government narrative is a complete lie. So, yeah. For me, I don't believe the French government is out to kill her. I believe they're just going to sue her. Because I obviously think it was in bad taste. And it was only done because like, as I said, Candice Owens is a fucking liar. That's literally it. It was not done for any other reason other than Candice Owens was lying about his wife. Because yes, his wife is like a creepy. Because if I remember, she was his teacher. I think he was either 15 or 14. But I remember the age of consent there, I think was roughly that age. And then they got together, so there's obviously that weird stuff with them. But then it's like, oh, his wife is a man. But then, like, but then when the French government, like, gets mad at you for insulting his wife like that, oh, apparently the French government's attempting to kill you now.
That's all I can tell you. I wouldn't be able to probe any evidence because I don't have the power to do that. I'm not the federal government. And I would also like to say that this becomes this other piece of
I want you to, and that's also another problem. I don't have the power to probe into any of this, but I know that his family went to me instead of the lawyers about telling them that their son isn't guilty, and they can't speak about it because Candice Owens is more trustable than the government as well as their own lawyers. But at the same time, also that while she's not a government official, she doesn't believe the official government story. She doesn't believe the government did the right thing on the handprints. But then also, someone else was the one who planted the gun because the official government story obviously is fake. But then also, she's not the government, therefore she doesn't have access to that information. But she knows the government has a conspiracy. But at the same time, like her story is so broke. His story is actually just broken as fuck.
What you do, which is when people say, this, I was told this, and this is the evidence that I have, and I'm willing to have that conversation and write the email to the correct government body that deals with this. Like, I can't hack into Emmanuel Macron's bank account and say whether or not the information.
I agree.
But then you go, well, where's your evidence? It's like, well, my evidence is that I reported it. I did the right thing that you're going to do. So if somebody calls and says, hey, Andrew, there's a viable death threat against you, and that person definitively has the rank to be able to tell you this, and you say, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to report that to the feds. Then I go, what's your evidence? It's like, well, I got the information, and I gave the information that I got from who I got it to the right body of people. And that's what I did.
Got it. I just want
Cool.
to make sure.
And so
I'm not trying to trap you.
Well,
I just want to make sure I got it clear.
And that's why I say I want to know what you're doing now, because this has always been the thing. It's like, we actually can't win on the overwhelming claim. So we're just going to go and bring up everything that I think can try to embarrass her. I reported exactly as I
I'm not
received
trying to embarrass
it.
you. I just want to make sure that I get your positions clear.
I have not said, yeah, go ahead.
And now you have stated multiple times that you believe that Israel's involved in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Can you give me...
Yes, we can pull up the clip.
Can
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I finish the sentence?
Go ahead.
Can you give me the context for what are you talking about? Like, when I say, generally speaking, why people think that Israel's involved? Okay. Where's your question?
Yeah. Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
Well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive, because he was fired up about politics, which Lance testified that he never spoke about with him, nor do I believe that he was, so into LGBTQ issues, since Lance testified they never spoke about LGBTQ issues, that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which, if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie.
That is 100% false. I know a lot of gay people that fucking love Chick-fil-A. Holy shit. Oh, all gay people don't go to this business because it's obviously against LGBT issues. Not all gay people care about all the parades as well as, all the little, annoying bullshit with the flags and all that. Not all of them care about that stuff. Like, for example, Chick-fil-A. It's great chicken. It's a great restaurant. But her claim is basically, oh, no gay people will ever go to Chick-fil-A. Ever. Why is that? Oh, because they don't have the super gay flag there. Oh, why is that? Oh, because they're obviously a Christian restaurant. But then it's like, oh my God. But yeah, this is the other claim that's like really, really, really freaking weak and stupid. Gay people don't go to Chick-fil-A.
Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because
Yeah, but do you have positive evidence?
I'm answering the question as I feel like I want to answer it. Like I said, you don't get to for an hour and a half.
But the question I'm
questions and
asking is
tell me.
about positive evidence.
I'm telling you that in any case, establishing a motive and and again, I already explained this at the top of the show, but the reason why people find Israel to be an interesting question is because, truthfully,
Also, here's a kind of easy way to really tell this. Does Israel benefit from Charlie Kirk having his head blown off, very publicly? The answer is no. How does in any way, shape, or form Israel benefit from this? How does in any way, shape, or form, Ben Shapiro or any of the conservatives in TPUSA benefit from this? Because all this has done is lowered their viewers, number one. Number two, had people harassing Erica and her family. That's another thing. And then number three, Charlie Kirk, let's be honest. He doesn't magically get to gain all your political opinions because he can't speak for himself anymore. This is the problem I have with Candice. She is speaking on his behalf, even though he can't speak on his behalf anymore because he's dead. And instead of looking at videos or evidence of what, like, videos of him to tell what he would have done, she's using her own logical worldview to basically say Charlie Kirk gained every single bit of her worldview before he died. That's exactly what's happening. Before he died, Charlie Kirk magically believes every single thing Candice Owens does, and the only reason that is why is because Candice Owens said so. No proof, no evidence, no backing. Just Candice Owens says Charlie Kirk would do this, even though Charlie Kirk stopped being her friend like a couple years ago before his death. And even though he stopped being her friend, stopped associating with her, stopped talking with her, she knows more about Charlie from the time she was friends with him that was short lived, instead of the people who were still friends with Charlie from not only the entire time that she knew Charlie, but all the way to the entire time until he died pretty much last year. And the thing is, how does Israel benefit from this? They have one less person who's very adamant on defending Israel. There is that. Like, outside of like what, Ben Shapiro at this point, they basically barely have a leg to stand on. They obviously do have the new and uprising Nick Mattel. Like, I'll give him credit. Like, he's the only one I see kind of holding things up, but even then, he's not as big as Charlie Kirk yet. Nowhere near as big. But then it's like, how do they benefit from this? Israel is far worse with Charlie dying, but you know who's far better with Charlie dying? The Democrats. Act Blue. Candice Owens. Why are these organizations better? Oh, the Democrats are better because Nick Fuentes says to vote for the Democrats because he hates Israel. That's number one. Number two is because Candace Owens doesn't like Israel, and the Democrats obviously don't like Israel, more people are willing to vote for them over the Republicans. And then all that is, what does Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel gain from this? There is absolutely zero, nothing. But you know who's gained the most from this? Candace Owens. She's made millions of dollars off of his dead body still being warm up until now, almost one full year after he died. Almost one entire year after he died, Candace Owens is still milking and making money off of his dead fucking grave because he's unable to speak for himself, but somehow she is magically able to speak for him, even though she won't just pull up Charlie Kirk clips and let him speak for himself when he was alive.
Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, rather than rabid claiming he never flinched and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, I mean, not even that. It's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then
loved
other
Israel.
than intuition,
That's the thing. Charlie's legacy wasn't everything is about Israel. What happened was it kept being brought up and he kept defending it in various ways. He's talked to Ben Shapiro, he's talked to like all these people. But the thing is that Charlie Kirk, she just doesn't want to admit it. Charlie Kirk was a Gentile, basically. People from Israel loved Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk loved Israel for every memory you could really see of him. And whether or not you support, that state or not, the problem is Charlie Kirk defended Israel until he died. A group of Jewish donors doesn't necessarily mean that all Jewish people are collaboratingly working together in order to get Charlie to like Israel. Some of them, as I said last time, like the ADL. Ben Shapiro doesn't like the ADL. He's critical of the ADL. He's critical of the way they act. But guess what? Both of them are Jewish. Literally, both of them are Jewish. And both of them have contradictory opinions. That's what happened. And he had a group of Jewish donors who he himself thought were trying to bully him into having a certain opinion that he didn't feel like he wanted. Therefore, he did not want that opinion.
How you feel about things? Do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why people think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis, there were also, obviously
Ian
Joe
Carroll
Kent.
made the claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12
Oh, just so you know, there's also something interesting since she did say it. Candice Owens is unwilling to dox or tell you about any of her other sources, but when it comes to Joe Kent, she is willing to state his name, even though all the other sources that are hidden and she's the only one aware of them. She doesn't want to state who they are, what their opinions are. Same thing with the Tyler Robinson family as well.
Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could.
Okay. Israeli cell phone. Let me hear that one more time.
Noted that Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe.
Now, this is the thing, right? So, if the government of Israel decided to kill Charlie Kirk, why would the Mossad, who people deride them as hard as they do as this intelligent agency capable of not only influencing the US government, the German government, every government across the planet, but as well simultaneously having control of all the banks and pretty much almost everything in reality, because at this point, any Jew that does anything implies that Israel is behind it. Why would those people who you dick ride so much as the smartest intelligence agency in the world, who can pretty much get away with anything, be stupid enough to leave their phones out in benches just because you think they left their phones down there? 12 Israeli phones. Why would the Mossad do that? You're talking about an organization that is very extremely used to having guns around them and having gunfire around them. That's the organization you're talking about. You're not talking about some random dude who hears a gunshot, runs away, and leaves his phone. You're talking about the fucking Mossad, whose expertise is literally guns as well as intelligence gathering. They would not make a mistake like that. And if somebody did make a mistake, they would fire him and immediately get him out of his government position because a mistake like that is unworthy of the Mossad. That's literally where the problem is. Oh, they all these agents magically managed to leave their phones because they're not used to hearing gunfire and not used to covering their tracks, but they're also the smartest intelligence agency on the planet. Doesn't even make sense.
They were students, and they were Israeli students in Utah that day. But we'd like to probe that narrative because what we've seen after coming from the Israeli government,
yeah, this is the thing. Oh, wow. Israeli students automatically means they're part of Mossad. That's the thing, because here's something. Ben Shapiro is a Jew born in California. He has no association with really Mossad or any of those people. The Jews in Israel are it's mandatory for them to serve in the IDF. That is a thing. But I'm pretty sure that's after high school, and it's only for 2 to 3 years, depending on your gender. There is that. But a Jew doesn't automatically mean that they're part of the IDF. Especially if they're students. If they're students, it'd probably be after they're done with the education they have to join it.
Israeli prime minister kind of denying that he did it, which wasn't really necessary. He was quite busy. The phone call that happened, which no one wants to discuss, in the Hamptons the week prior, or not the week prior, I think it was around August 5th or 6th that took place. Mm-hmm. And again, the almost desperate lies about Charlie shifting opinion on Israel lead us to believe that there could be an Israeli angle in this. But we cannot say for certainty that.
Yeah, this is the thing too, which is the entire first part of the debate that I was there, she was trying to put the blame on Lance Twiggs mostly. But now she's saying there's a high likelihood that Israel's a part of it, when nowhere in the first part did she ever talk about Israel. She only talked about Lance Twiggs could be the one that did it and shot it, and Tyler Robinson is a patsy and he was set up. So now there's this angle, which is also made up on it's the bullshit I want to believe, basically.
That Israel called the shots and this is how it happened. But it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like
Do
to
you
see
say there's no
pulled.
positive evidence?
Whatever you want to say, however positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Well,
I
like
don't, I don't
positive
need to. I
evidence
can just
would
have a
be
conversation.
material evidence and other evidences which would
what
point
we've
you
said
to
is on our show is what we said, which is this feels like a conspiracy building. There's no reason to lie about these things, and yet people are lying. BB ain't acting right. The Hamptons thing was weird.
And there it is again. It feels this way. This has been every single claim. It feels like someone else obviously put a gun and obviously framed Tyler Robinson. Oh, his family can talk to me, but they can't talk to their lawyers about any of the charges because Candice Owens is a more trustable source than the lawyers. But also, even though the lawyers did not use anything from the Candice Owens show, who, if any of her statements were reliable and factual, they would be all over this shit in order to try and get their client out of the fucking murder charges and everything else. But no, none of that. It's just, oh, it feels this way. Oh, it feels this way. He didn't shoot it because it feels this way, because Lance Twiggs obviously is the one who did it. Oh, it doesn't look that way because it's a blurry image because 720p is apparently too hard for Candice Owens to decide that it looks similar to his physique and similar to the clothing he wears. But at the same time, oh, Israel's obviously a part of this. How do you know? Oh, apparently 12 phones equal Israel part of this. But also the French government is also into this.
And the way they tried to shove the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died, posting a picture of him with an American and Israeli AI'd photo on the president's feed doesn't feel right. So,
do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that I have?
She spent months trying to villainize and basically blame one of his friends for potentially being a part of the death, because after Charlie Kirk died, he apparently ran in a specific way which made her think he might have something to do with his death.
Evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Okay. So then you don't believe that they did?
I never have said that statement, so I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, fair.
Your team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is. Yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candice said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You said evidence that they killed him. I said this
ahead
is
and
why
play it,
people think
though.
their involvement.
So she can
If they have the clip,
Yeah,
they
if they
can
got
play
the
the
clip.
clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Yeah.
Via whom? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority.
Right, and Pierre, so this is still the French guy. Let's see.
How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm going to put that out.
Okay, so let's get this straight. So potentially France, Israel are involved in Charlie's assassination, but also most likely Lance Twiggs. Let's see how many other organizations she adds to this list, because I remember there were Egyptian planes, and she was like, "Oh, this is obviously a part of it too."
There with full confidence.
Okay.
I also
Involvement.
now have-
I understand.
Yeah.
So you
That's-
think you with full confidence you think that
Yeah, I think
that
Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day. Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you
United
don't have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right
think-
to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's
Exactly.
positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim.
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think. And
Yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed to
saying, do
think,
you have
but you're
positive
making a
evidence?
claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think. Yes.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So
Nobody's disputing whether or not
yeah, but
Candice
like
Owens is allowed to think. What I'm asking is
but
you have
what's your issue then?
positive
What is your issue with the statement?
evidence.
I think.
And you see that she's getting extremely defensive about what she's claiming without any evidence as well. Once again, and the first half was the same thing. She said stuff, but it leads to fucking nowhere. It's all just her intuition and her feeling like these things happened.
That Israel is involved.
That's not just what you said. You said
I
that
did say
it's with full confidence.
Yes.
You would think that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence
to think when you think?
if I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right? With full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
That's how you would know whether or not you had full
I'm
confidence.
just going to tell you something.
Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right? And I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with
I
evidence.
actually don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you know you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do. I'm
They're
allowed to think
pertinent to
that.
this debate.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Every single admission of her, oh my fucking god. Everything she says is an admission to her. She has fucking nothing. She has nothing, and she spent this entire time just being an annoying retard. So yeah, basically we got nowhere. We got nothing. And why is that? Because Candice Owens is more interested in having her narratives pop up with absolutely zero reason to believe them, and her sources are all anonymous, apparently, except Joe Kent, which, okay, Joe Kent's not an anonymous source, but then, at the same time, all her other sources are anonymous, and she can't tell you who they are, but she rat out Joe Kent. Okay, let's see.
Hey,
It's not exactly pertinent to this
It's
debate.
100% pertinent.
It's not pertinent because our debate
these are claims
claims
made about Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's the complete substance of the debate.
No, actually, would you like to remind him of what our debate claims actually were?
And would you like to remind you said I could ask you about any of these things
I
to my
said
heart's
feel
content?
free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me
I'm
why
not
are you allowed to
structuring how you're
think?
allowed to reply. I'm just asking you direct questions.
I have full confidence that you do not feel that you represented your claim well. And so now what you came
That's
prepared
nice.
to
I just
do is
wanna
to
know-
present yourself like a professor of
I
fallacies
just want to know.
and to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't.
Every accusation is an admission. Every single one of them. Holy shit, Candice.
It's
You
my
can say
podcast.
whatever you want.
I
Nobody's
said it.
disputing that. I'm
It
asking.
seems like you are disputing
I'm
it.
asking
I think that
specifically
when this
why
is
you
all
think
said
that.
and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this why I think Israel is ultimately going
France.
to be proven to have involvement in this. I just explained to you in the middle, and now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to. You're just allowed to think, and I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to structure it in a sentence. If you feel like a professor today, you picked the wrong day.
Don't you think that like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candice Owens' positive evidence for why it is
No, I
that
don't.
Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's lifetime is?
That's why they watch my podcast.
So you're just going to drip to them? Like, here's why
It's
I
not
think
dripping.
that?
Every time we come across any of these discussions, they're watching this in context and they know why I'm saying it. So, for example, when you're bringing up, well, Candice, where's your evidence for France doing this? I just told you someone who is high ranking in the French government, right?
Who's nameless?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
But
So there's good reason to
so it's not
doubt
a
this.
conspiracy, though, if I then took it to the federal government. Like, you can't just go out there making a claim to the federal government. You get in trouble for making false statements and things of that nature. So, and then you go, well, I'm going to probe that. Well, how can you probe that? This happened
I
to
can
me.
ask you, well,
This
that's
is
not
my
what I'm probing
podcast.
specifically.
This is my podcast. I am sharing my life and my experiences and what has happened to me. And you're basically coming in like you're going to, regulate how I'm allowed to say
Nope,
it, if
I'm
I'm
not
allowed
trying to
say
regulate
it.
anything. I'm asking very
you're
pertinent
sounding a bit
questions.
like a professor trying to regulate and say, Candice,
You sound very
can't say, I
defensive
think.
and like you just don't want to answer questions.
He's having a
I
full
did answer your
emotional
question 3 times.
breakdown.
I just
Literally,
didn't say it in the way that you wanted
you
me to
just
say
kind
it.
of obfuscate and you run away from it. But I would like for you to
Let's just
actually
go through
focus
every
on it.
clip that you guys have prepared because because I think with full confidence, people will recognize the strategy that you're trying to employ. So let's get to the next clip you have prepared.
Sure. They can pull up whatever clips
whatever
they want.
it is that you guys have prepared. So
But I would still, on this point, I just want to make sure that you have full confidence that France and Israel were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I think in
and
the
you
end,
have no evidence for it at all that you'll give us.
Well, I already did tell you where it came from. Like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't understand
Did
it
that
for
same
you.
higher up tell you that he was
to,
going to kill, or that France killed Charlie Kirk, or just that you were in danger?
They said that the French Foreign Legion was involved and on the ground that day. I've already said that. You just don't like hearing it.
No.
Candice, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
when you pass down that message to Tulsi or Trump,
Tulsi's office, yes.
Tulsi's office, are you
And that, yeah, that's another weakness too. So she tells Tulsi Gabbard and the Trump administration that somebody high in France is attempting to kill her. But also at the same time, America is controlled by Israel. So Israel and France simultaneously collaborated to do Charlie Kirk's assassination. But at the same time, if Israel is controlled by America, she can tell Tulsi Gabbard, who is a direct link to President Donald J. Trump, who also is, who also is heavily like implied to be like implied to be like controlled by Israel. This is another like really big issue. Like what the fuck? Which is, Trump's obviously an Israeli plant. He's being forced into his positions. Like he obviously is being forced into this. But then also you can tell the U.S. government about something France and Israel did. But at the same time, Israel controls America. So why would you tell America? Because America's Israel's little puppet. But yeah, all this is so badly put together.
giving them who told you that, or you're just saying, here's what I heard from
And
somebody?
I have this information.
Sure.
And of course, if they wanted to open a file on it, which I thought was quite mysterious, that Trump's office never got back to us. It was kind of weird about like maybe they're not the.
This is gonna sound weird. Are you ready? Trump's office has a huge amount of people messaging it, and he's not mandated to look at every little thing, as well as Tulsi Gabbard, every little thing that people give them. Most likely it was looked at by a very, very low-ranking member of the White House. And then after that, they decide whether or not, really they want to push it to the higher-ups. That's most likely what happened. Because like I know a little bit of this, but it's kind of like if little kids or school kids like pretty much send notes to the White House, they would obviously use that like little stamp that fakes your signature and then just gives it to them as like, oh yeah, I definitely read your messages and all that. They did it for the Obama administration. They did it for the Trump administration. I don't remember if George Bush was early enough for that to be happening. I don't remember, but they have a little thing, right? So they do look at some messages. The problem is that usually it's low-ranking officials, and then they pass it up higher if they believe it's worth their time. They probably just were like, it's not worth my time. And then Candice Owens, with her idea that she's the most important person in the world, she deserves an answer, even though she's not a high-ranking official, she's not highly credible. She wants an answer, and Tulsi Gabbard has to give her an answer, and it's weird that they never gave her an answer.
Correct office too. I did receive a response from Tulsi Gabbard's office, but I don't think there was ever any investigation into what I
Got
said.
it. So the call was, hey, I've been
Emailed.
told the email.
Yes.
Email was, I've been told
I have
somebody
information, that the French Foreign Legion was on the ground during Charlie's assassination, and that. I mean, it was a lot of information, but
you didn't give specifics who it was from.
not in the first email because I figured they would like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if they do contact you,
100,
are you
yes.
comfortable giving 100% who it is?
I would absolutely give them as much information
can I
as
ask a
possible.
question? If whoever's the U.S. government, why are you not?
Yes, it's very strange to me.
So if that's the case, now they may respond back and say we did. That's their position.
I did. That's why I did it in writing.
And so I'm glad that's the case because. So if they
and
do
right
ask
away in
you,
Trump's office, his Margot got right back to me. She said it was on his desk, so he has that. There's no.
And if you do say that, and they contact that individual, obviously you don't have to leak your sources here. is there enough credibility where that person would be willing to talk to them and explain to them exactly what their sources
Yes.
are? Okay. I mean, that's,
It seems reasonable. And so why he's asking me to defend that is like,
I'm not. Never
Okay.
did.
I think those are two different things. That's more
Two
something I'm
totally
asking
different
to say,
claims.
why are they not reaching out to you?
I've asked that many times on my podcast.
What do you think about that, Andrew?
What?
The fact that she emailed, she gave it, and nobody reached out to want to contact the
They
source that she's
probably
willing
didn't think
to
it was
share.
actionable, is my guess. But even if they did think it was actionable, great. Every lead should be followed up on within the confines of what's rational and reasonable.
Is it fair to say that this is maybe a different individual because this is a person that was involved with TPUS
Well, we
and
don't-
had a relationship with
Wait,
Charlie?
who?
No, her relationship. Like
Yeah.
this isn't just anybody. So if an average person sends it, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know who the source is. We don't know any
Well,
of
then
this.
if you were in that department, wouldn't you want to, even you assign it to one of your
There's
guys
no
to
guarantee
say,
they didn't look into it. How do we know? We don't
How
know.
could they
No,
if
how
they didn't
could they
come
if
get
she didn't give it
the
to them?
information, more of the information? Because it
And
was a
by the way,
long
this-
file.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There is a high likelihood someone looked into it and just didn't like go down and go down after that. They probably looked at it and was like, "Yeah, this is obviously retarded bullshit." Or worse, Candice could just be lying. And how do I know that? Well, I have a feeling she's lying. That's all I need to prove that it's factual. I just have a feeling she's lying and pretending she sent something when she's actually just lying about it, and then saying that, "Oh, why aren't they getting back to me?"
This is a separate. This has
Did
got
you send
nothing to
them
do
the
with the
guy's
debate. This
name?
is more on.
Well, I sent the email, assuming that's you kept saying like you go and you make a report. You think they're going to come back to you and say, "Hey, what's more information? We're investigating this," and that didn't happen, and which is what I raised.
No,
I
I'm
found
asking,
that,
did you send them the
especially
source of
because
the
this was at
claim?
a time where they were saying that they wanted to explore every possible lead. I even texted Dan Bongino.
But did you-
So actually, it was three offices.
Let me ask
the
one question and then
executive
I'm gonna come to
office,
you.
Dan Bongino,
Yeah.
and Tulsi Gabbard's office.
Okay, so a follow up to that is the following:
Mm-hmm.
if they contact you to say, is that specifically to the French government or Israel's involvement in the killing of Charlie Kirk?
That wasn't about
Those
Israel.
are two separate things.
That wasn't about Israel. It was
Okay,
they were
got it.
saying the French foreign that person as a part of it was saying that it was the French Foreign Legion that was on the ground that
So
day.
I'm surprised
And
they haven't
think
called you.
Then I find that to be very strange
Very-
too.
I do as well.
Because
Mike.
who would want to make a report? Like, I mean, I've never
But-
made a report with the federal
But when
Let me
you
government.
ask one
did-
question.
but
Let me
when you
just
did
ask one
send
question.
Mm-hmm.
it-
Let me just ask one
Okay.
question, and I'm going to bring
Okay.
it to you.
Sure.
The question is in regards to, I've not seen that clip, so I'm seeing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm full confidence. I believe that Israel and French was involved. Is that also based on a source that somebody told you that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or is that a gut feeling?
So in terms of Israel, I mean, what I've said is what I publicly have said here. I do think that at the end of this, we are going to find that Israel was involved. I do. Now, in terms of any of the hard evidence that's been presented, I think this has been a huge problem that a lot of us have had is that they won't even explore anything else that was going on in Charlie's life personally. So if we're not satisfied that Tyler Robinson did this in any way, then every alternative theory should be explored. Other evidence should be brought forward. We've done that in our capacity. Like when people keep saying she has no evidence, it's kind of crazy. I think we've broken like more stories than any news source in the world. I mean, down to pictures, details, police officers, what the dog's name was, because we're not the only people that believe there's a conspiracy here. The police officers that were involved, the many police, sheriff's offices, that were departments that were involved that day, all believe there was a conspiracy. Down to the U.S. Marshals believe there was a conspiracy. They were, my sources at the U.S. Marshals were saying they were basically sent on a wild goose chase that day.
But do you see how you say my sources?
Am I not allowed to have sources?
Well,
Like
the thing is funny.
So is CNN allowed to have
well,
sources?
hang on. I
but
have
we can't?
sources. If I said I have sources that claim none of that's true. In fact, my sources claim that her sources are lying. My sources claim that none of them believe that there's a conspiracy. My sources claim all of them really think that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. If I just said that as hypothetical, wouldn't you say, what?
Yeah, I think what probably adds weight is like then when I drop photos of the car that no one was supposed to see, people go, okay, her sources are legit. So, and then
This is the thing. She quite literally has a main character syndrome. Holy shit. Which is, why wouldn't they look at Candice Owens' stuff? Why wouldn't they look at Candice Owens' stuff? Oh, the lawyers obviously know that my shit is true. That's why they didn't use it during the trial. Oh, the US government obviously should look at everything I say because Candice Owens is always right. Oh, who are my sources? Oh, they're anonymous. Except Joe Kent. Fuck you, Joe Kent. Yeah, I'm gonna expose your name, tell everybody who you are, make sure that you're fucked over. But as for everybody else, oh no, I can't tell you the names.
When what I say is then proven in court and nobody knew those things, people are recognizing that my sources are legit. When I say Charlie was scared in the last days, and then I dropped the text message, which you've just learned about a couple of weeks ago, of him saying he was leaving the pro-Israel cause when everyone was lying about that, then they say, I think Candace's sources are legit. So I think what's happened is I've actually built up a rapport with my audience that it's not vibes and dreams, and that's why they keep watching my content, because like, for example, when
think
I
they're
just the
stupid.
other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So I've proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that, oh, they all believe that there's a conspiracy going on, which is actually what your claim is now. How
Well,
would that
I was
actually,
just-
hang on, I'm almost done.
Not
How
I
would
was
that-
talking to PVD.
How would
not
that
me.
legitimize? Well, it's not his debate. How would it legitimize these sources that even if it's the case that you get some court footage or some things like this, why would it legitimize that your sources are telling you all the marshals believe it's a conspiracy, all the police believe it's a conspiracy, everybody believes it? How would that legitimize
Well,
any
what
of
I
that?
am saying to you, and you are not forced to believe it. So let me just explain what I was answering here, and I think that you understood what I was saying. Is I have, because people trust me, compiled a lot of information and presented it to the public, and this information has been proven true. We've presented photos, we have presented videos, never before seen stuff. The public has never seen it. And so what that does is your audience goes, okay, when she says that she has these sources, clearly she's telling the truth. Now, whether you would then go, well, I'm going to believe her when she says they think that there's a conspiracy, that's up to you. You cannot watch my content. I'm not here to tell you that you have to watch my content or believe everything I'm saying.
Well, don't you think
But I am-
questioners should get questioned as well?
By who? I'm not committing a crime, am I? By just like saying
Well,
what I
I
think and
mean,
collecting
aren't
evidence.
most of the people you ask questions of not actually committing crimes?
But what do you mean they should answer questions where? Like at a police station? Like
no,
what are you
just
saying?
like if you want people to come in and answer questions for you. I have questions about this in the investigation. I have questions about this. I have questions about that. You want them to answer your questions. Doesn't it seem totally fair that you answer back the questions people have for you?
Well, they're not
Yep.
answering our questions. So it's also fair that they don't answer them.
So you're
That's
okay.
why
And so this is the thing. They're not answering Candice Owens' questions, but they gotta answer them. But they're supposed to answer my questions, but I don't have to answer any of their questions no matter what it is. And the thing is, right, these are police stations, these are the FBI, this is literal fucking president. All of them have high enough authority that they're not required to answer what Candice Owens wants because Candice Owens feels like, something is off. That's the biggest thing. Holy shit.
So
said
I just
Andrew
wanna-
Colvett should be in this chair. He's not.
But
That's
isn't
his
that a double?
prerogative.
But isn't that a double standard?
No, it's not, because he's not doing it.
Yeah, but what that would still be a double standard. If you're requesting that he does do it, then that seems to infer that you think he owes you answers.
Oh, so inferences are allowed again?
And they never weren't. So that seems to infer that you think that he owes you answers. If that's the case, then don't you owe answers?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm answering your questions and his questions about. I mean, I'm talking about Andrew Colvett. His position is he's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. So when the crowd turns against Turning Point USA on the basis of a lack of information or because there has been, I don't know.
Here's a crazy thing. Are you ready for this? Turning Point USA is not a organization specialized in finding out the small intricacies of a fucking assassination. They're an organization that speaks primarily to college kids and at various conservative-leaning events of like why they should change your mind or why Charlie Kirk believes this belief. Yeah, it's almost like their organization is not, oh, we definitely know how assassinations work and we could break every little detail. No, fuck no. That's not what TPUSA is. But it's like, oh, they have to answer all of our questions. Candice, they gave you an option to go on their fucking show months ago during like the early part of Charlie Kirk's death and then you were the one who rejected going. You rejected going onto their show to, like, meet up with them, but yet they owe you every single ounce of, like, every question you ask. But at the same time, you don't have that same requirement on yourself. You're not required to go to their event, even though they literally invited you to go on. You're not required to do that. Everything is just, people are required to give me stuff, but I'm not required to do anything. Oh my God.
Seeds sown of distrust, I would imagine, and forget answering my questions because it doesn't need to be me.
But aren't you sowing a lot of those seeds of distrust?
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job themselves, if I'm being honest. You can blame it on Candice all you want.
Well,
people love to do that.
The thing is funny is,
people
like,
act like I'm
I think
ground
their
zero.
PR, I'll be fair with you.
Ground zero of people not trusting Turning Point USA.
I think that there was some
kind of
PR there. I think there was some PR there. Sure, they could have done better. Absolutely. I'm not disputing any of that. One thing, though, that I want to just directly ask you.
Oh, here's the thing about, I'll say the thing about their PR, which is TPUSA's entire PR team literally was Charlie Kirk. Like, Erica Kirk, let's be honest. Like, as much as, like, I like her, she really isn't really the type of person to be a PR or on-camera person. Like, she can try her best, but the thing is, she's not as articulate and as capable as Charlie Kirk is in showing off his opinions, why he believes stuff like this and that. TPUSA's entire organization was based around Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was their guy. He was everything to them. And now that he's taken away, sadly, the organization is never going to be the same again. Because they can talk about Charlie Kirk, they can talk about things that he believed, but it's sadly that Charlie Kirk was the organization. He was the heartbeat of Turning Point USA. He was everything that TPUSA pretty much had. And tragically, they lost the guy who was the best representative of their values. And they're trying. They really are trying, but the thing is, it's just that they're not as capable of doing it without Charlie Kirk there. That's pretty much the sad thing about it.
Do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions. I would at this phase. I would.
Okay,
so
what does that
hypothetical,
mean? Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right? And the fact that was never even considered, that like I said earlier, the backpack was returned.
And this is the thing. She's accusing you, TPUSA, without accusing them directly because she doesn't want to get sued. She's implying that TPUSA has something to do with it, but she doesn't have the balls to go behind her opinion. That's the thing.
How do you know that was never considered?
Because they gave back the backpack as just one example. They gave back the backpack. They gave back the...
That doesn't show a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't just hold things up for a second.
They ruled them out as suspects.
That quickly, I'm not comfortable with that investigation. It's a pretty big organization. There's a $100 million incentive. This is...
What $100 million incentive?
What I'm saying is his organization, like it had grown to, I think it was 100 million.
Plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want to factor.
Yeah, but what was
your team wants to play video, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
there's a video they want to play of Candice said it's impossible to not believe Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
That's also just asking.
And so right now, their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, yes, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it? That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Yep.
Those two thoughts.
Yep, and this is it. Oh, which is, why do you think Tyler Robinson did it, to, oh, Erica Kirk obviously did it. And the whole thing is based off, well, Lance Twiggs did it because I believe Lance Twiggs did it. Then it was Israel somehow involved because I believe the Mossad is stupid enough to make a giant mistake, as in do a literally public fucking shooting of Charlie Kirk. And then also Erica Kirk is complicit because she thinks Tyler Robinson is the criminal. And why is that? Oh, because Candice Owens doesn't think that Tyler Robinson is the criminal. Therefore, Erica Kirk is in on it because of that. Jesus Christ. Unbearable fucking woman. Holy shit.
Actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say complicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay, so what's she complicit in?
Yes. So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in and
tell
debate.
me,
So
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping
What
it
does
up.
complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. And Erica, when she is asked, "Are you one? You know, do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she says, "I do." Then again, context matters. I sit down with Erica for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? Like I'm like, I actually, this is why I did not engage in any like Erica, everyone's questioning what she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because I don't know, just it feels weird to think that, did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not, you can't convict somebody on weird mannerisms. And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, you know, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, you know, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. You know, that's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. It was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her complicit?
Complicit.
Exactly.
And again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show. Okay. So we call her lawyer and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand. How would any of this make her complicit and in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut case.
How is she trying to fool the public into this? If she believes
don't look anywhere else.
That Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you saying that you think she does?
And this is the thing. Candice Owens thinks that he's not the guy who shot Charlie Kirk. Therefore, anyone who thinks that he is the guy who shot Charlie Kirk is obviously wrong and complicit in Charlie Kirk's murder.
Doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right. But so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it seem like I said she was complicit.
Everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like why? And
Because
when,
we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to
well,
watch.
I'm going to go back to my theory that you didn't feel confident that you could defend your your claim that it was overwhelming evidence. So now you're trying to move towards doctored clips and getting
Well,
me to
there's no
respond to
doctorate
it.
anything. I'm just making sure that we got this right. That what
Yes,
you're actually
yes,
saying
I
is
do
that
believe
Eric
that
is just
Erica was,
complicit in believing
and
it.
when I re-examined her actions backward, because I did not have this perspective of her at the beginning, which is why it's so funny to me that you guys make it seem like I'm ground zero. People thought Erica was sus from day I forgive him, and I was not a part of that. I did not lean in.
Okay, I know what she's talking about. There is this crazy thing in Christianity, right? Because Charlie Kirk was a Christian, and guess who else was a Christian? Erica Kirk, right? There's this crazy concept where people will, like, you know, forgive in their hearts somebody for doing something bad to them because then it leads them to, like, you know, stop suffering from it. And here's the thing. I'm not the type of person to, like, you know, forgive. I'm not the type of person to easily forgive, so I'll give that. But the thing is that it's a concept in Christianity, right? She had the cross and she's like, I forgive you. And then she was crying. But the thing is, forgiveness doesn't automatically mean that, oh, somebody is allowed to get away from the rightful justice because you forgive them for it. What's happening is that she is allowing the criminal process to continue and for them to decide Tyler Robinson's fate. All she did by forgiving him in her heart is that she tried to ease the pain of losing her husband because because it literally tells them, "Hey, you have to forgive your enemies," some shit like that. Let me see if I can find the exact verse. I'll continue this, but jeez, I know I know in fact there is actually an exact verse like from the Bible about forgiving your enemies.
To that. I did not contribute to that. I was getting actually terrible messages from my fans being like, Candice, you and Charlie always say to go with your intuition. You won't address this, how we all feel about her. Things changed for me when I saw that Zoom call. I will tell you that for sure. And the fact that she lied to me. So I sat across from her and, you know, I wanted to have that conversation publicly, but they're probably grateful they didn't do it publicly. She told me some lies. And so the next thing that happens naturally when somebody lies to you, you go, when any person lies to you, whether it's a toddler, people only lie when they're trying to obscure something else.
Have you addressed what that lie was?
Yeah, I've talked about, we have a list of lies that we've been told by, we can find that,
In
I'm
the
sure.
meeting with her.
Well, no, I didn't.
Okay. Matthew 16:14. If you forgive others for their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others for their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Okay. Colossians 3:13. Bearing to one another, if one has a complaint against another, forgiving the other as the Lord has forgiven you, you also must forgive. Matthew 18:21. Then Peter came up and told him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me, and I forgive him as many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. Luke 6:37. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us all from unrighteousness. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but that's entirely the reason why that was done. She held the cross. She believes in Jesus Christ the same way her husband did. She's forgiving him in her heart. That's basically what's happening. It's not that, oh, I forgive him, therefore Tyler Robinson's allowed to run away from the consequences of his action. Because you're still supposed to seek justice anyways. There is that. But yeah.
didn't want her to cage up. I didn't want to do this, and because I didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't know if she was going to be like, I'm so overwhelmed with everything, and I don't know who to trust at the organization, and I don't know what I'm doing. Like I didn't know. I didn't want to.
Just out of curiosity, before anything happened with Charlie, how close were you and Erica?
Not very close.
So there's not a relationship.
No, I would say it's totally normal. Like it's not like there was any issues at all. We were always nice to each other. It just is our life went to a different phase, right? So Charlie and I hitting the ground, running around, traveling 4 days a week. Now I get married. I find love of my life. I get married and I get pregnant. I haven't stopped being pregnant.
She gets pregnant by a random fucking billionaire and then immediately starts her podcast. Random fucking billionaire.
And what you want out of life changes. You don't want to be running around for 4 days a week and traveling on a plane nonstop. You suddenly want to start building at home and live. I was desiring that suburban life.
Did you guys ever do the double dates? You, George, her, and Charlie. Was there ever double dates between the four of you?
I was engaged to George quickly. We were planning our wedding. I was kind of in my bubble with George. George traveled with me and Charlie, but Erica and him were just starting to date at the beginning of 2019. George and I were planning our marriage. So George really got to know Charlie. I wouldn't say that I really got to know Erica. I was just rooting for them because I knew how much Charlie wanted to, find love. And so I was kind of his wing woman throughout that phase. And I was just happy. And I never was under the impression, obviously, that they were going to get married when they were dating. So it wasn't like I was conscious. I really need to get to know this person.
You're going to be shocked, right? You're going to be shocked finding out this Christian value. Are you ready? You're supposed to date to marry people, not date to date people. And right, Charlie's primary value was Christianity. There's this weird concept called dating to marry. A lot of predominantly Christian men do it. It's actually crazy. Why is that? It's because marriage is a union between you, the woman, and God himself. That's what marriage is. Or at least that's what marriage was supposed to be before the government got their hands in fucking everything. But it's like, why would you not expect the guy who's literally Christian values to immediately think of dating to marry? Like, that's literally part of his ideology. That is part of it. That's a mainstream Christian ideology. Everybody knows it.
And so it was just kind of normal that by that time, because of where I was in my life, that I wasn't spending any time getting to know Erica per se.
So the complicit part about Erica to you, is that a gut feeling? You think
it transformed when she lied?
You can take the lead. I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
Go for it.
I actually don't. I still don't understand what you think she's complicit in.
Yeah. So when I say Erica's complicit, that's my opinion. When you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband, would you like to explain how you?
I did not hear about that. Let's see if that's actually true.
You developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded.
Yeah, sure. So I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew?
Classic Andrew Wilson take. Classic Andrew Wilson take. Okay, but anyways, let's get that out of the way in all seriousness. Holy shit.
So and by the way, what dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after going to the headquarters? Because you were pretty hostile about.
I wasn't hostile towards them.
You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No, come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, like for instance, you got supporters. I mean, if you want to use the same exact argument, you would take a supporter like Owen Benjamin. He called you bad names and called your husband bad names. You're just like, well, that's no biggie.
I've never answered him on anything that he said. I'm saying that you now are her biggest defender. So do you still think she's
not her biggest defender?
Do you still think she's too retarded?
No. I didn't know Erica Kirk. I'd never met her before.
Okay, but you had an issue with Turning Point being led by a bunch of fembots talking about the feminist angle.
Still do.
And then suddenly...
Oh, this is easy. That's because like Turning Point was pretty like femcon dominated. Like he's had a bunch of women where they literally actually do not follow the fucking Bible. I think I remember where he talked about it, but it was something like it was something like the reason like a lot of the really like femcons and all those women from like whether it's like the Daily Wire, Turning Point, whatever. He always thought the feminists would eat them up, specifically because the femcons are literally just feminists who believe in certain things of the Bible, but then it's like they don't want to they don't want to do like everything involved in it. There's no obeying your husband, there's no looking for bearing and creating children, there's none of that. It's always just been, well, I get to have $1 billion company, but then I tell you, oh, you got to marry like a husband, whatever, settle down. Meanwhile, I'm a multi-billionaire or have this multi-million-dollar industry, have no boyfriend, not looking for marriage, and then I get to tell you, oh, this is your values, even though I don't carry them myself. Because that's kind of the thing. So, like, I'm not against like women that generally hold those values, but like maybe or maybe not, actually do them themselves. What I am against is when they're like, oh, you have to follow these values exactly. As a woman, you're supposed to do that, and then she doesn't fucking do it herself. But it's basically like that.
You go to the
Still think
headquarters.
it's a terrible idea.
You go into the headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you've got text messages that you're sharing with them. You say that you and your wife are getting involved with management.
No. I'm not involved in any management at Turning Point
Well,
USA.
I'm pretty sure there is a clip of you where you say that you're
He was teaching them how to debate. That was it. He was not put in any position of power. He was brought there to teach them how to debate and debate against them, because it is a useful skill. And who is better to put up there than pretty much one of the best debaters that's pretty much known on the right? The guy who's debated what? Destiny, Not So Erudite. I don't know if he debated Dean. I don't think so. But he's debated college professors, OnlyFans models. His whole livelihood is basically fucking debating. And he's one of the most well-known people on the right for doing that. And I think he also recently debated a Jewish rabbi. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he debated a Jewish rabbi recently on Israel. There was that. Like, there's a lot of stuff, but it's just, hey, this guy is very good at debating. And so we're going to have our organization learn from him because, well, Charlie's fucking dead, so you can't learn to debate from him anymore. You can watch his clips, but he can't actively teach you himself anymore. And Erica Kirk is obviously not a debater. His friends obviously aren't. And he's just preparing them for trying their best to, fight for their values later on. And who better than, instead of like how those red pill guys are, because he's a Christian nationalist, a guy who believes in Christianity, which is in line with TPUSA, but as well as he's a good debater. Like, it makes obvious sense that they would either pick him or Ben Shapiro, but the problem is Ben Shapiro's Jewish, while Turning Point is Christian, so it would make less sense for them to put him to teach them to debate because of that.
wife went to the
Well, he does know the Old Testament. I could give Ben Shapiro credit for that. Because he is a Jew, he will know the Old Testament, so they can like ask him for stuff on that. They just can't reliably depend on him for the Second Testament. That's where basically it becomes a weakness.
their recent conference and sat down. And then when you were on Joe Rogan.
No. Hang on. I'll explain what happened just so that you understand.
Yeah.
So I was invited there to do some debate training. That's literally what I was invited there to do on recommendation. So I went down and did some debate. That's the first time I ever met anybody at TPUSA.
Okay. And then you said you sat down with Erica.
Well, I didn't sit down to her. I talked to her in a hallway.
So you didn't sit down and speak with Erica?
No, I didn't have like some sit down long conversation. We talked in a hallway.
Okay.
I
Is that
don't
when you
know,
gave her
maybe-
the hug?
Yeah, gave her the hug right there. My wife did too. We were both very sorry for what happened.
Okay.
to
So
her.
at what point did you start receiving text messages from that you cited in your opening statement?
Oh, I just reached out to TPUSA and said, I'm prepping for a debate. Is there anything that's pertinent that I can use here?
Do you find it interesting that people have been asking for, basic answers to questions, and you're saying that you walked into their headquarters and reached out and they instantly...
It's amazing, isn't it? If you reach out in good faith and you're not demonizing them and saying that they're complicit in the murder of people's deaths, that perhaps they're actually willing to release things to you that are pertinent, other than thinking that, perhaps you're diabolical
Well, I don't know. I just
and don't
think
have the
I
best
feel like if I was
intentions.
going to release that information, I didn't demand that it be released to me. I actually never demanded.
Candice Owens definitely did demand it would be released to her. Candice Owens only cares about Candice Owens. She doesn't like TPUSA. She hates Erica. She doesn't like any of those organizations. Her entire motivation is, I'm going to use Charlie Kirk's dead body to finance myself. And obviously, TPUSA would not line up with her values at all. That's literally it. It's just she wants all the information in the world without like holding herself up to any values, while at the same time being able to shit on you, talk down to you, and make as many negative comments on you as she feels like.
And that it be released. I just simply said that this is what was going on in the last 48 hours. Maybe to the media they could release it. They could release it to PBD. They decided to release it to a guy that called Erica too retarded in June.
So what?
Yeah, I just think it kind of shows that Turning Point is sending you as their horse.
Well, I don't
They
know
just
where
don't
you,
have they don't have
I
the
don't know where
courage to
you-
have the conversation.
like, I don't
if they
see
were
this-
just releasing something in
Let
good
me ask
faith
you a
to
question.
answer
Do you
questions.
have any
I've never
evidence of that
demanded.
claim?
It's not evidence that
No.
you're sharing your opinion
No.
that she's too retarded. I can't share my opinion that I think it's going
Well,
to
I never
register
met the
as
chick.
really obvious to the public. That rather than presenting that throughout the course of everybody wanting to know what Charlie was going through his last days, they decided to give it to you to come to my house as some sort of a surprise.
Well,
do you think the
when-
public's not smart enough to
do
see
you
through
think,
that?
Do you think that if you
talking
know
about terrible PR.
if you know that there's a huge debate that's coming up that's going to be probably one of the most viewed that year, and one of the debaters calls you and says, I'm taking this position. This is the position that I feel like there's the most evidence for. And Candice also agreed to answer many of my questions in regards to this. So if you got pertinent evidence here that I can use, I'd definitely like take a
But
look.
what is the-
It was actually amazing to me. It really was actually amazing to me how if you approach people in good faith and just say, hey, I'd actually like to know what the facts and details are around this, they actually do talk to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just do not believe that they are doing this in good faith. I don't believe that anything you have done has demonstrated that's in good faith. It demonstrates that you walked into Turning Point USA headquarters and came out a different man because you were critical of the organization. You
Still am.
were critical of.
And this is the thing. It's not like, oh, he hates it. Because, like, for example, if it was a leftist organization, it would make sense he would not defend any of their positions at all, or at least not want to. But the thing is, TPUSA was the largest Christian organization for young students around college campuses to go around. And Andrew Wilson is a Christian nationalist, as I said. It's in line with his values. And not only that, but he thinks Candice Owens' conspiracies are retarded. And he could come up to that conclusion himself rather than like other people needing to tell him. That's literally what happened.
Erica, and now you're sitting here going,
Well,
Candice,
first
I
of
want to
all,
interrogate you for
have
an
you ever
hour and a half
been-
about everything you've ever
Have
said
you ever
about
been
Erica.
critical of somebody that you hadn't met and then you meet them and you're less critical of them?
And the inverse has happened too. I was
You're right,
less critical
exactly.
about Erica, and now I'm more
But
critical about her.
I'm asking you, isn't it the case that there's people you've been critical of and then you've met them and you're less critical after you meet them?
Too retarded.
Trump and Mom Dami were literally like that, bro. And then they met and they were like shaking hands and shit. Oh, but yeah. It happens sometimes. Yeah.
I feel like if you think that she's dumb and you, let's just talk about your record. I mean, you're a person that has spent time in what most people would term to be the manosphere, talking about
Kind of.
well, yeah.
I
Nah, he's a Christian nationalist, so Christian values override anything and everything. The thing about the manosphere is that a lot of people kind of confuse the red pill with Andrew Wilson, but it's not exactly the same. Because the thing is, the red pill is just, we're going to prioritize men's dating advice, what men can do to improve themselves, and what privileges women are being given over men. And that actually would align with Andrew Wilson to a certain extent. But these guys would be like, oh, date as many of them as possible, lie. You don't have to be like faithful. Make sure she's faithful to you, have as many women as possible. But then Andrew Wilson would be like, no, you have to try and date women to get married, but you can also be very critical of them. And Andrew Wilson doesn't advocate for polygamy. He advocates for marriage, Christianity, bearing children, all that stuff. Whereas the manosphere would be like, no, these are the women, and you're supposed to have sex with them for the rest of your life, and that's pretty much it. And she's supposed to follow you no matter what. That's the biggest difference. That is the biggest difference between them. They can be similar, but they're not exactly 100% similar. Like, for example, a simp and a gooner. A guy could be a gooner to a woman who's a retard, but that doesn't mean he goes online to defend her. A simp, on the other hand, probably would goon to her and then defend her if she does some stupid bullshit. That's like kind of like those. Those things are similar, but not 100%. Anyways, I don't know why I brought that up. Let's keep going.
Debate against the
Against feminists.
and red pillars.
Okay.
And a lot of the actual. So I'm a Christian ethicist. I
And then
always
you
take
go
the
on to
ethics
Joe
position.
Rogan and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon, like you just go into the headquarters.
Actually, Erica's position's very different from feminism because Charlie was always the head of it. Charlie was always the man in charge. The problem is the man in charge is fucking dead. Erica Kirk was not put into the position because of feminism. Erica Kirk was put into the position because her husband fucking died, and therefore now she has to take on both parental roles, not because of her own decisions, not because she wanted to, not because she fought against Charlie's values, but because Charlie Kirk is literally dead, therefore his position as a father was stripped away from her, from their children, so she has to sadly take up that role while at the same time taking up the mothership role. Charlie Kirk never left. He died. That's the thing. It is not feminism when your husband dies for you to take up both parental roles. Feminism would be, oh, you can do whatever you want. You don't need a man. You can do anything you want. Oh, you can have babies outside of wedlock. Oh, you're a strong, independent woman. Oh, men gotta follow you. None of that is what Erica Kirk is doing. Her husband died. That's where the overall problem with what she's saying lies. Charlie Kirk just fucking died. She has absolutely no choice but to take up that role. Absolutely no other choice.
And you just shift all of your perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism. Like nobody's in the bigger girl boss position than you.
Yeah, I'm actually
You're in the biggest of the girl boss positions. Like you don't have to do this.
Okay.
You just do this. You could definitely not do it at all and be fine, right? But you still do.
I would say that you are making a comparison that cannot be compared because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense why she would take the organization over.
No, it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Yeah, because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office.
You
want to
protect your husband's legacy.
Yeah,
right?
No.
And you're trying to find some new
normal. The legacy
normal.
is his children, not the organization.
And this is the thing too, which is she can prioritize that and both at the same time. Why is that? She has friends. She has friends who could help her take care of the kids. Besides, it's not like she's in the public eye 24/7, 100 fucking, every single day. She was in the public eye a couple events speaking while her kids were most likely being, taken care of by her parents or her friends or maybe like somebody else in that position. But she's not like a public figure who's always fucking out there no matter what. And this is the thing about Candice. Candice just wants Erica Kirk has to disappear, and then I can just attack her no matter what. Because if Erica Kirk doesn't have any statements, then I'm gonna dogpile and attack her. And basically say, oh, why is she not answering this? Why is she not answering that? Why can't she answer this? But then if she goes out in public, oh, actually, you're being a bad Christian. You're supposed to be with your kids. You're not supposed to be out there. You're not supposed to make any statement when your husband fucking dies. Like Candice Owens would judge her if she did stay with her kids, just as much as she would judge her if Erica Kirk decided to take a more public role. There is no winning in this exact point. Candice Owens will attack Erica for both because she has absolutely no standards outside of, I want to villainize and demonize Erica Kirk because she feels like it. That's the entire thing.
Both.
No,
Yes, it is both. It's totally rational and reasonable to
Nope.
believe that it would be both Turning Point USA, that is part of Charlie Kirk's legacy. He worked his whole
I
life
think
for
this is
it.
why people think she's
Yep.
sus.
And his children. Now, for you though to say that anybody's a girl boss, right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
Exactly.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss.
And that's the thing too. Candice Owens is live every fucking day when she has her husband alive. So why isn't she in the kitchen? Why isn't she cooking? Why isn't she taking care of her kids? Because she's live every single day. Candice Owens is not forced into the girl boss position. She's actively choosing it. Erica Kirk is forced into a position that she has to take a more public role.
Came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm telling you that you brought up this idea that I'm defending some feminist nonsense. I'm not. I'm pointing out that they're by the way,
She's not qualified
always
to take over his company.
There's always objective.
Charlie literally said Erica can take over his company if he dies. She's fully qualified. Well, and here's the thing. she doesn't have Charlie's credentials, Charlie's debate skills. Charlie was the one who decided she was qualified to take over if he died. And that itself is what matters most. It's not that she's going to run the company the same, it's that she is the one he chose for that spot in case he fucking died. But yeah, then Candice is like, "Oh, she's not qualified for that position. Oh, then who fucking is? Oh, Candice Owens, right? Oh, Candice Owens should take over the organization and then shit on it whenever she wants."
Outliers to each situation. In fact, it's the exception that proves the rule. And the interesting thing here is like, I'm still just as critical of feminism inside of TPUSA as I've always been. And I'm just as critical of any pro-Zionist position as I've ever been. None of that's ever changed.
Oh yeah, this is true. Andrew Wilson, like as far as I've seen, I haven't seen everything he's done, but when he fought against that rabbi, I don't know who it was. He is pretty anti-Zionist. And yeah, because if I remember, he said something about the state of Israel. Basically, Jews would be safer outside of the state of Israel generally because the state of Israel is surrounded by, I think it was like 56 Muslim countries, and almost at least half of them actively want to kill the people in Israel because of that. And so therefore, they kind of done a failure because Jews are always put in a position where they have to defend themselves 24/7 constantly. But yeah, this part's true. He is not pro-Zionist. He is not pro-Zionist.
By the way, I would think it's the most rational, reasonable thing on planet Earth to do if you wanted to actually see an organization change, to try to work with leadership or reach out to leadership to try to do so. Doesn't that make the most amount of sense?
I would like to state for the record that I think Erica is underqualified to run the organization.
Sure.
And
yep, Candice is the one who decides Erica is underqualified, not Charlie Kirk, the man who actively ran the organization. Candice is the one who has to vouch and change and pick who she wants to run that specific company. Even though she has no control over it, no power over it, she's not a figure that's even like slightly respected in that organization. No, Candice Owens has the authority to tell TPUSA what they should do rather than Charlie Kirk, because Candice Owens is a fucking narcissist.
On the more emotional aspects, I agree with what seems to be a majority opinion, because I'm not gonna say it's scientific, that any woman that would leave her kids and go right into the office after their husband was publicly assassinated does not have their priorities straight.
Okay, well, I understand that you can have those criticisms,
Yeah.
but I'm not understanding still how that would make her complicit.
I don't have to keep answering the same question.
Okay,
So
let's
let's
feel
get
like you got an answer to how it's complicit.
Your team is asking to play a clip. So if we
Okay.
want to play this clip to just finish this segment on the Erica Kirk topic, we can spend some time on that as well. So
Okay.
if you guys are ready in the back, we're ready.
And causing that 30-06 diameter, as would happen with a patent explosives, as we've demonstrated to you in the past, it accidentally, because of how Charlie was crouched, went up and hit his neck. And that ruined everything. That ruined everything. It was problematic. It's the reason why Terrell then had to scramble to get the cameras down, because they were never supposed to see it. They could have said reasonably that a 30-06 got eaten by Charlie, much more reasonably, obviously, than saying that the chicken bones in his neck stopped it because he...
And I brought this up the last one, but the neck, it isn't the strongest muscle, but it's a pretty relatively strong muscle. And the bullet, as I said, 30-06 is a cartridge for a bullet. You can change the exact rounds you put in it. So not every 30-06 is built exactly the same. Some are built for competition, some are built for other things, but 30-06 is literally the entire thing put together. Then when the cartridge leaves, which is where basically what it is, it's just the thing that pretty much holds it. Then the ammunition, I don't know if they have armor piercing. I think they do have like regular ammo. I don't think birdshot exists for 30-06. Let's see, what was the other one? The other one were like those special like tournament rounds. They do exist. But basically, not all bullets are the same exact one for guns. And she's basically assuming that every bullet goes through a person. There's a lot of like data in World War II, because it was one of the most used pretty much rifles in World War II, that shows that not every person had an exit wound. Because when a bullet hits somebody's body, sometimes it just stays lodged into their skin, sometimes it goes into a bone and stays there, and depending on the distance, how far it is, and a lot of other factors, as well as the type of ammo, because not all ammo is created equal, would determine that. And what happens is that a lot of the cases, the round that was shot, when it's shot into somebody, then breaks and then doesn't have an exit wound. It's a pretty normal thing that happens with ammunition that's typically weaker. And that's what happened. It just hit his neck and then it broke apart either before or during when it shot his neck and then never came out. That's the thing. And her entire premise is based off of, oh well, this type of ammo only exists in this exact thing, and then nothing can pretty much disprove it. That's pretty much it. This type of ammo can't be disproved. It always does this, it always does that. Even though when you're shot in different places, different things happen. But yeah, holy shit.
ate vegetables. They panicked. That was what then, that's why Terrell's nervous on the phone with me. Again, this is my theory, and I am now very much sticking to it. Okay. They panicked. It's the reason Erica had to step out. That's why she would have gotten on the phone with Terrell so quickly, because I was going, why is Terrell saying, well, I didn't want Erica to relive. Oh, that's why I did it. He didn't have an answer. He was nervous. It was crazy. But he acknowledged it.
Why? Oh, wow. A guy is nervous after a fucking shooting happens. That's fucking crazy. That is fucking crazy. Oh, a guy is nervous that a shooting happened, a place where shooting doesn't typically happen, or at least they didn't expect it to happen. Wow.
Spoke to Erica immediately. Why did you speak to Erica immediately?
Maybe because her husband fucking died, and he's telling her, hey, look, I don't have all the information. I don't know exactly what happened, but your husband's dead. I'm sorry. I wish I could, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, if somebody's spouse died, one of the first things you would do is contact either the most well-known person in their family or maybe a friend telling them, hey, this person's now fucking dead.
Believe that there was a shape charge that killed Charlie?
Hey, can I ask you why you keep starting clips mid-sentence?
Probably to get to where the clip is.
No, it doesn't seem that way, because you can always start a clip at the beginning of a sentence. Like you're just it's completely out of context.
Wait,
But
I didn't
yes, so
prepare the
in
clips, but
yeah, I think
I
it's
didn't,
like you
but
were
it's
kinda
fine
ready.
to ask it to back it
Like
up.
I said, I don't need to say what's happening here because the internet will clock it. But in this episode, we are now going, and that's why I said we're now going to look at some alternative theories. I made it very clear that this was a theory that I didn't want to look at. This is, I believe, because I don't have every episode on my head, but I'm pretty sure this is an episode where we presented the evidence that was in the car, the photos of what was in the car, right? And so we are now inferring off of what we see in the car that this very much does look like that we see a bunch of shattered Rode microphone, which was an early theory that I was actually interested in, but couldn't really.
Yep, here it is. So she did bring it up, the microphone theory. But as I said last time, just to give a small recap, the microphone thing, the reason why it doesn't really make any sense is because if the microphone shot here, right, it shot directly at his neck. The microphone, if there was an explosion in it or some type of device that like spring loaded and did that, would go the opposite way of where you were shot, because the force of it would force the gun back. Because if you hold a microphone like this, you don't, right? Charlie Kirk didn't expect the microphone was going to kill him. So he's obviously not holding it as if it's a gun. Why would it not move this way after it shoots Charlie Kirk? Because that's how exactly the impact works. That's exactly how. But the microphone, it fell down with Charlie. Charlie's neck was hit, and then it fell down with Charlie. Yeah, and that's the reason why I don't even like believe it's like, I don't even like slightly believe it. It doesn't make any logical sense. And anyone who knows like even physics or how ballistics works, or even is just not stupid and would think an explosion, right? An explosion would pretty much go everywhere. An explosion goes everywhere. That's number one. So then it would have to be specifically put in a case that only one area would explode properly and the other areas are reinforced, causing the explosion to go one way. So that's another thing. But then if that's the case, that explosion would still force the microphone to go the opposite way of it, because all the force would be going forward. Therefore, the microphone has to fly backwards because of the force caused by the explosion. But yeah, I think this theory is fucking stupid.
Wrap my head around what was the shape charge explosive. As I say at the beginning of the episode, like it was just not my expertise, and I was concerning myself with timelines and stories and statements that didn't make sense. Without question, Terrell Farnsworth is someone who made me think that we were missing a big part of the story. So I'm walking them through John Bray's theory. If we started to insert what we are actually observing with the evidence that we're taking a look at and what took place that day. So we're completely in the hypothetical right here. And you're now introducing this.
If that's the case, if you're just hypothetically exploring it, that's why I'm just asking directly.
Yes, but that's obvious when you watch this episode. So that's why it feels like I'm in the middle of an interview with CNN when they like pull up random clips and they're like, "What's this? What's this?" You watch the episode, you know what it is.
I'm just trying to make sure. Do you think that your alternative theory?
I think John Bray's theory should be explored. Yes.
Okay. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was killed with an explosive?
I think that is a possibility. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And it should.
And just to say, her consistency was that Charlie Kirk was killed by a projectile. So therefore, she technically is being consistent here.
Should be explored. He's done a lot of work on it. John Bray has done good work, and I think that that's why that theory is now starting to gain steam since we released the second set of the photos of what was in the car. I think it's viable.
So this was the big thing I wanted to get into with you on the explosives too. Mm-hmm. What is it about that theory that's actually compelling to you? So I looked into the explosive mic theory multiple times, and the biggest thing that stood out to me is there's no explosion. There's literally no explosion. In fact, there's videos when the shot rings out that kills Charlie. At least it sounds like a shot to me. People are actually like looking up towards where the gun is being fired. They're looking away for where the sound is. Like, where's the actual explosion?
Well, for every person that you say looks away, there's going to be a person that was looking forward. We have former Marines that have gotten on and said, it looks to me like there's an explosion under his shirt, right? You obviously saw Rob O'Neill go.
Okay, so now there is an explosion under his shirt. Okay, got it. So the gun was planted by somebody else. That's number one. Number two, the mic could have possibly exploded and killed him, even though it makes like no sense. And number 3, well, there's probably an explosion under his shirt that killed Charlie Kirk. Okay, so she has 3 things with that all make less sense than some retard with a rifle shot him. Like, I'm gonna be honest. All 3 of those things make less sense than a retard with a rifle shot him.
On to, I'm forgetting which platform it was, where he said, it's the first thing I thought was it looked
Rob
like,
O'Neill is the man that killed Osama bin Laden.
yeah, and I think he's qualified to say what he believes he saw. We should actually, since they're pulling clips, we should run that clip of Rob O'Neill and what he said and what he
that's fine.
observed and his experience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that. And also there were people who immediately spoke to the media that day who said the same thing, that they thought that something happened under his shirt. That was actually, if you go back to like my first episode, when I was just observing what I saw with my eyes, I was asking the serious question. I was seriously saying, why is it like somebody shot him from underneath? Why is his shirt moving first? That doesn't make sense to me. And
That's because of air dispersal from the bullet. So whenever a bullet is shot, a projectile shot, you can actually run this experiment yourself if you have a rifle.
Mhm.
Take like an empty box of ammunition and put it on the table, and then fire it near the muzzle, and that box will actually blow off the table.
Okay, so
Yep.
question for you. Does that box go sideways off the table?
It can.
It can.
Yeah, you can. It depends on the dispersal.
You 3,000 pounds of energy or 2,000 pounds of energy coming at you. That's how much it carries.
Well, it's not 2,000 pounds of energy.
Well, we can fact check that.
That's-
How many pounds of energy is it? A 30-06 being shot 150 yards away. That's a great question for Grok. I'm going to say when we looked at it, it was between 1,500 and 2,000. I'm pretty sure pounds of energy coming at you, and you just go upward and to the side. I don't really buy that. I'm going to just say I just think that that's not
but
possible. It doesn't go through on top of that. So there's another miracle. You didn't get blown backwards. It didn't go through. But I also want to say that you're saying this can happen, and Rob O'Neill is infinitely more qualified, I think, to speak on that.
Why?
And because he's actually shot and killed people.
Why would that have anything to do with anything?
Because
did he slow down all the videos of the people he shot to see if their clothes moved?
Well, why are you able to assert your position as a
because
fact?
I'm gonna tell you how projectiles work. He's not even gonna I guarantee you this guy's not even gonna disagree with what I'm about to say. If it is the case that you have energy and you have mass, and the mass is moving in the air has to go somewhere. It doesn't have a choice.
I think you're totally BSing right now, man.
Oh my gosh, this bitch doesn't understand, but this is actually true. This is actually true. If you shoot something forward, air has to move somewhere. Like, what the fuck? This is the most basic concept, holy shit, in physics. But here's the thing. He's not even asking you to do like all the math yourself and all the intricacies of every little detail. All he's telling you is that this is literally what happens. This is literally what happens. If I move my hand here, air is, pushing my hand because I have it basically flat, but it's making it so that my attack would be slower, and it has to move somewhere, so it's moving around my hand in order for me to do it. That's why when you slap in front of yourself, you can feel some of the air immediately go towards your face. If you do that, it's the same concept. If you do this, guess what? You don't really feel the air nowhere near as much. But why is that? It's because there's little to no force or little to no air really being forced, being pushed by your hand. Therefore, all of it's moving around it, so far less of it does that effect. Where if you move it this way, you'll feel the air hit your head 10 to 20 times harder than you would the other way around. That's literally what happens. And a bullet, even though it's small, does do that. That's literally just it. Holy fuck.
Not only am I not BSing, I'm telling you the truth. If a bullet is moving in air, air has to move out of way of bullet.
But maybe not at the bottom of a shirt here. I don't know. I disagree with that. I'd like to say, for the record, I've watched some of you do these sorts of things where you assert something with a lot of confidence, and
you can fact check it.
Your
check if bullets displace air.
Not about whether it displaced air. It's where it dispersed the air. It was underneath his shirt here.
It's not underneath the shirt.
A bullet's this big, and you're telling me it's going to hit his neck.
Candice,
and then
it's not underneath the shirt.
The
It
shirt
starts
puffs
up here, and the collar's moving, and then you see the wave here as he's moving backwards.
No.
Yeah.
That's not true.
It's not.
And we obviously
the
can't show that
idea-
clip. I disagree with you.
Okay, I understand you can't show it for TOS purposes.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I disagree with you. People can go watch and make up their own minds. We don't need to debate it. Whether or not that was the first thing I said was, why is his shirt moving first? That didn't make sense to me. It almost looks just like this. It goes across. His necklace breaks first before Charlie even reacts. If you watch it in slow, his necklace breaks first, which I thought was very odd. And then you see a puff here, and then the next thing you know, there's the entry
You see
wound on his
smoke?
neck. I would not confidently assert that I see smoke. I've never said it on my
Do you
platform.
think that an explosion generally has smoke?
Yes.
I don't think that.
Yep, that is true. When you shoot a gun, like, you won't see it from the bullet, but if you look at the barrel, if you shoot it enough times, you'll see there is actually smoke coming out of it, because the explosion is inside of the barrel of the gun. And you'll also see generally like a little like fire, like a little bit of fire kind of puff out of it. You'll also see that because the explosion's coming from there. But by the time the bullet is out, you know, the explosion is pretty much done. It's just a little, usually rock, piece of metal, or whatever flying after that.
That there's any quality version of video that would get us to be able to answer that question other than Terrell's 4K footage that he has from the front. So
There's a lot of, if you look at the Israeli pagers, it's assumed that it's a similar, if not the same type of explosive that was used inside the pagers that would have been used inside of this road mic.
I think that you should, since you love debating, you should debate someone like John Bray, who's worked on that theory for 11 months, and ask those sorts of questions of how a shape charge would work.
Look at that.
50 cal, baby.
I'll just bring this up randomly.
One
Oh, yeah.
shot.
Desert Eagle. I want to buy one, but yeah. But look, you'll see it. Well, that one was a little hard. Let me see if I could find probably an AK, I guess. Probably someone shooting an AK. I would have to do it more. Let me see. Okay, here we go.
Hickok 45 here on our annual Christmas tree harvest.
Oh, I love this old guy. I forgot his name, but I love that guy.
And I think I
Damn.
brought, as usual, an appropriate tool. Come on with us. We think we found one right here that'll work.
There it
We
is.
like them kind of scraggly, like that one.
But you'll see. Oh, you see? There it is. All the smoke is coming from the barrel and all that. And there's that too. Sometimes you could see a little fire, but you do see that all the smoke is coming generally from where the barrel of the gun is. But yeah,
That'll do. Merry Christmas. Life is good.
yeah. And there's another one too. Hey, look, it's the same concept. The explosion is inside of the gun barrel, which is why you see the smoke coming out of it. Yeah, like that. And you'll see it. It's coming out of here, but it's also some of it's coming out of the barrel. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same fucking concept. Holy shit. But yeah.
We got retro with the
There's that.
AK-47.
Yeah, this is the last one I'll show before I'm done.
You might want to do it with your thumb. Push it down. There you go.
Okay.
Whoop. Oh yeah, he looks a little scared. Come on. Come on. Yeah, he's okay. Yeah.
We got retro with the AK-47.
Okay, he didn't do it. Okay,
Could a
I'll show
concrete
this last
highway
one then.
barrier stop a bullet? I'm gonna shoot this 2,000-pound highway barrier with higher and higher caliber. Firing.
Yeah, look, there it is.
308.
And it's the same fucking concept,
Big
but you'll
chunk
see.
out, but
When the bullet hits, you obviously can see like dust come out of concrete and other stuff, or like sand move out of the way. But you'll see that the smoke is coming
didn't
from
come
the
out other
barrel.
side. And right here, it went super
Jesus.
deep into the concrete. In the back.
Yeah.
Safe. Moving up to a second round of 50 cal. See if that'll punch through.
Jesus Christ, that's. But yeah, look at that. Boom.
All right, the second shot of 50 cal hit.
Anyways, now we're done.
We got
We're done
retro
with that.
the AK-47.
Oh, okay, let's turn that off. But yeah, that's the entire thing, which is, oh, why did it do that? That's just air. And an explosion, if it was in the mic, would actually cause you to see like smoke and stuff come out of it.
I presented the evidence of what was in the car, and I also, at that episode that you're clipping, said John Bray has done an unbelievable amount of work on this, and I think he has debated a ton of people actually regarding this topic. So that's the route that I would send you on. For
Yeah, that's fine.
for the purposes of my show, I do believe, to answer your question, that it is a hypothetical.
Oh yeah, one last thing I almost forgot. But for the gun, if you shoot it without a bullet, you'll just hear a click sound. You won't see any smoke, you won't see anything happen, because the bullet is the part that holds the gunpowder. But then once it's in the barrel, it shoots it, and then you see the cartridge gets ejected out of it. And then you'll typically also see that the cartridge is hot as fucking shit. So there are times if you go to a range where it hits the wall and then it hits your hand, you're literally gonna burn yourself. But yeah.
I mean, that it is a theory that should be thoroughly explored.
There's two clips your team wants to show. One of them is the Rob O'Neill clip, since we're on it. So if you guys are ready in the back before we go to ad break, if you want to pull it up, this is a good time to do so.
Let's see.
And good to see you, General Holt. A lot of things bothers me about this. Nothing in particular. And it's not like I'm out there saying big lie or conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the.
I mean, this is gonna sound crazy. Are you ready for this? Like here's the thing. I do like the guy, and I respect him. Killing Osama bin Laden's a fucking patriot move. But why the fuck would someone immediately start doing first aid during an active shooting if they're a civilian? This is not a military training where the immediately first thing you would do is, oh, you have to get the guy out, you have to give him first aid, you have to take care of him. No. These are civilians. Civilians are not going to think of that. For example, hospital staff are not going to go up into an active shooting and do medical care. But you know who is? A police who is trained to also do medical care. Because that's the cop's job, and they're also a cop, so they're also expected to do that in the line of fire. Versus a medical staff like doctors and shit, they're not gonna go and immediately go to, okay, we gotta do the medical stuff. Like, yes, some people are brave and some people will try to like drag people out and take them, but yeah.
Somehow there didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but that you can't forgive Candice Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, oh, I'm just asking questions. Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask.
He's actually said very little about the explosive there. So
I'm just saying he said he's shot people up close, and he's never seen a shirt move like that, and it looked to him like an explosive. That's what he just said.
But when I play that video at full speed, I can't see a shirt moving. I can only see a shirt moving when we slow it way down. So if I'm in real time, I'm just assuming this, right? If I was in real time and I was in like a close quarters combat, you kill somebody situation, and I shot them, would you even see the shirt move?
Well, I just feel like 5 minutes ago you were arguing that it was because the bullet carried air. Now you're saying you don't see the shirt move at all.
Yeah, but that's if you slow it down.
He's talking about human perception. But yeah, the thing is, if you slow down a video and see it, like, you can do this thing called look at it from as slow as possible to dictate what happened. But when you're actively in something, like when people have car crashes and stuff, usually just imagine the situation sped up twice as fast, because people sometimes they're like deers and are like, or sometimes people immediately like run away and shit. But yeah, there's that. But I will say he is trained with a gun, so there is a likelihood that maybe his perception and reaction time's just really that fucking good, which would obviously make sense. But there is obviously that. But let's see.
Down the disbursement of air, that's where you're going to see it, right? It's going to be very quick, very, 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 very fast.
Yeah,
and then
that's not what I saw, and clearly it's not what he saw, and he thinks that there could be an explosive. So I'm just saying to you,
when you
people disagree with you. Your opinion's not a fact. That's all.
I understand.
I think that's a good place for us to, if we have another a break, and then we can keep answering your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. We'll do a quick 3.5-minute ad break. We'll be back for the last segment.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Oh, might as well. I'll go to the bathroom then. Oh God, Candice Owens.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort,
Let's see.
function, and luxury,
PVD, you have
we had
too
the
many
choice
ads.
to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
The beautiful thing about these events, you know how quickly it goes? Like this. Is everybody ready to get started?
I've helped over 10,000 business owners grow and scale their companies. I'm just passionate about watching entrepreneurs create great business.
When you get guys like Jerry Rice, that was his work ethic.
We were able to do some great things on the football field.
The single most important trait I had was a healthy dose of delusion. And that delusion is sometimes also referred to as self-belief.
When I can do something that I love, that
Logan
is
Paul
good for
again.
business, and I can make content out.
Bro, that fucking Pokemon card, didn't he buy that for like 20 million? Let me check. Let me check that real quick. Charizard.
Is sometimes also referred to as self-belief.
When I can do something that I love, that is good for business.
Here it is, that Charizard. Let's see. Yeah, that bullshit. I still remember. Yeah, I still remember. He paid a lot, if I remember, for it. Oh, damn. 150,000. Jesus. That is a lot. Okay, let's continue.
And I can make content out of. That's my trifecta.
And now let's go. We're skipping.
Hey guys and gals, Vincent Oshana here. My Faith Over Fear line is taking off, and it's all thanks to you.
Hey.
Andrew, if you want to go with your last.
Right, here it is.
All right, fantastic. So, Andrew, if you want to go with your last couple thoughts.
Yeah, so I just have two more clips to play.
Okay.
Right, and then we can do final thoughts. I'm guessing. I feel like we got where we were trying to go, or at least for the most part. So the two other clips, I do want to play the Twigs clip. That one is important to me, the Twigs DNA clip.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull it up just to have you respond
Well,
to it.
you don't have to play it because, like, if you're saying that when I initially watched it, I thought that Lance Twiggs' DNA, like, he was directly responding to that because the testimony was a bit confusing. They started by saying that they were going to, like, explaining how they got the samples, and they said Lance, Matt, and Amber Robinson, how they got their DNA samples, and then they started speaking about the gun and said, multiple prints were found on them. And then they moved and they said Lance Twiggs's DNA was found on the screwdriver. When I went back and rewatched it, I realized, well, they haven't officially said that Lance or Amber are on the gun. So I think I've already conceded that we don't know that. So I think like, but if you want to play the clip,
this is directly you saying it is on the gun. Twiggs' DNA
I'm saying
is
that
on
I
the
feel
gun.
like I've already said to you, like I've made that concession. But just to be clear, whenever I make a mistake, I just correct it. So that's why when you were asking me 3 times, I've already said we don't know yet, and I've corrected that mistake. So if the purpose of you showing this is to demonstrate that Candice makes mistakes sometimes when she's taking in a lot of information and she's reading through legal documents and she's trying to remember 9-hour testimony.
It's to demonstrate something else. It is, in fact, the case. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mistakes.
And I've already
on the case.
I've already
You're going to make
conceded.
mistakes on the case.
Yeah.
But in this case, you were very adamant that his DNA was on the gun itself.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that it's not ruled out. We know that there's 5+ prints. I've said this so many times. I had to rewatch the testimony again. It's like 9 hours a day. It got very scientific when they were speaking about this. And I think I wrongly extrapolated that they meant all 3 of them were on the prints when the only person they officially named was Matt Robinson. So we don't know yet if Lance Twiggs has his DNA on the prints, DNA on.
And remember, she said she thinks there's a possibility Lance Twiggs set him up and put the gun there and he took the gun. So she's basically using me not know if the gun has his prints, but he probably set his boyfriend up.
The gun officially just yet.
Okay.
I've already conceded that.
Sure.
So
that's fine. And then the last one is one with Erica Kirk.
Sure. This is like the Erica Kirk. All right, Erica. You could just sit down with me, Erica, but we can do it this way.
This goes back to a previous claim that you made.
Yeah, sure.
I'm bringing it up.
Straight to jail, straight to jail. We're questioning at least Erica. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you will be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented.
Why would you ask Candice Owens to be an idiot when she actually is an idiot?
Beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies.
So straight to jail?
Yeah, so that's the show intro. And straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay.
Like,
So do not pass go.
Yeah.
Do not collect $200.
Yes, it's obviously tongue in cheek. And then we explain that actually I think that she should be brought in for questioning because of inconsistencies. So this is the exact episode when I started to think that she should be sat down and questioned. And I still believe that. I still hold the perspective that Erica should be sat down and she should be properly questioned.
Do you know that she hasn't been?
No, actually, that would be a great thing for the spokesperson of Turning Point USA to say that she's already
but
sat through.
why do they?
I mean, my guess would be she hasn't because they returned everything to her.
Yeah.
But
why do they owe you that though? Why
they don't owe me anything. That's my show you're watching. Just the clips that you're pulling are from my show. So if I want to say something on my show, I can say that. I didn't say they owe me something. I don't think that's ever unless you have
but
another
if you
clip.
say like you need to be sat down for questioning and you don't even know if they haven't been, that's strange, right?
Do you know if they have been?
No, I have no idea.
So you're just saying, what if they haven't been?
Yeah, if you're
just kind of filling the air.
If your
with
entire thing is
junk.
No, it's not junk. If the query is why is it that Erica Kirk's not being sat down for questioning, but you have absolutely no knowledge whether or not she's been sat down for questioning or not.
Yeah, it would probably be later released in the actual actual trial for Tyler Robinson, since the preliminary hearing obviously wouldn't have their strongest information nor all of it, just enough that they can later bring on all the other things related to the trial.
It does is it creates an innuendo. It creates an inference. It creates out to the ethos that this should be happening because something's wrong here when you actually don't have the knowledge that anything's wrong at all.
I just think that my opinion is that she should be sat down and questioned.
But you're not sure if she hasn't been.
Yeah, and you're not sure if she has been either. So like I said, I feel like now you're just kind of filling the
Well,
air
to
with
my
nonsense
knowledge,
because
this
Turning
is
Point's
to-
like, we want
To my
make
knowledge,
sure that you go in there and you
nobody-
defend Erica. And I have to say, I don't think you've done an extraordinary job
Great,
at that.
but I'm not here to defend Erica. The thing is, though,
I
is
say
like
that since 4 out of 5 of the clips that you
Yeah.
had on the ready when we asked you guys ahead of time. I mean, I want to just assert how professionally we have dealt with this debate. As you can see, we have not planned any gotcha clips for Andrew. I expressed to him that what we were going to do was just to use people for fact checks, and because I might not remember something, or
I will say the fact checking crew has been fucking ass. What's the point of having a fact checking crew if you use them like twice during a 3-hour long debate? What is their purpose there? They serve zero purpose. They don't deserve to be there. They're useless. They're actually effectively useless. They only checked the one law she brought up, and now it's just like, oh, here's like a handful of random other bullshit. You're like, okay. But like, why the fuck are you guys there? You guys should at least be doing a little more than pretty much like what? I think it was only like 5-6 times they really went into anything. But yeah, doing such a bad job. I think the fact checkers suck.
I do remember something and you're saying no, and that is what I think will register to people as very
Well, wait,
fair.
I expressly
we did not take out of
wait, what?
context clips of Andrew
But
to
I
try to
expressly said
please
that
don't
I
cut
was
me
going to
off.
bring
We
claims,
did not.
right?
No, when you said you were going to bring claims that
Your
you would want me to
claims.
speak to, you didn't say I intend on sitting you down with out of contexted clips to which we said to you before in an email. Any clips that you want to share with us, send it
Mm-hmm.
over. Let's assert a debate claim so that we can both be ready to respond to it. This just
That's not really what happened.
well, what didn't
yeah,
happen?
this the way that you're framing the exchange,
What
that's
do you
not
mean?
that's not actually what happened. We were negotiating. It is true we negotiated out the claim itself, right? Which one's going to take which position? I wanted to make sure that I had at least an hour and a half on mine, and you got the time for yours to question me. We did. We got through your hour and a half on mine, roughly an hour and a half now on mine. That's basically how this went.
But in the beginning, I did not take an hour and a half to just pull out of context clips with Andrew. I actually debated the substance of what's going on in this trial and this hearing. And I do think that I think you fell short of that.
There's nothing out of hang on.
And
There's
I
nothing
did not
here
say,
except
I'm
holding
just
you to
gonna
account
get
for
you
your
to say
claims.
yes or no. Well, hold on. We were supposed to be debating the case
This
and
is
whether
part of
or
the
not
case.
there was overwhelming evidence.
These are your claims about the case.
No, you then admitted that now you're getting into another sphere and you want to talk about the transcendentals and things that I've
And
said.
we got through-
and like 4
yeah.
out of 5 of your clips are about Erica Kirk. So the general
I
perception
don't think 4 out of 5 even
is
were.
your Turning Point's horse.
Oh,
I
so you
think
just-
quite
just-
a few
you
of
just-
them were.
you
Were
just-
there 3
just made it
Ericas
up?
or 4?
So you're just making stuff
Can
up?
we get a count of how many were about Erica? I feel like
I think it was 3.
3. Okay,
Yeah,
3. I
3.
said 4.
But those are extraordinary
sorry.
claims, which is why you're asked about
Okay,
them.
well,
right?
okay, but the point being is now you're veering into trying to get me to defend my opinions, and then you completely shirk responsibility
Your
when I
claims.
point out yours. No, they're not claims. When
No,
you
they're
tweet
claims.
Erica is too retarded, you go, that's just whatever, and then you move on.
That's a claim that and I'm responsible for the claim.
Well, earlier when I brought it up, you said that it was tongue in cheek.
Yes, sure. That's me responding to your criticism of the claim. That's all I'm doing here.
I was interested, and
I'm happy to get into also the Patsy stuff now, if you would like to.
well,
Your
that
team
was
has one more
supposed to
clip
be
they want
the
to play
whole
from
thing.
7 days
Okay,
ago.
sorry.
They got one
They
more
had
clip.
to.
and
We
then
were
can
getting
go to
into the Patsy stuff, and you stopped it, and I was explaining to you. Oh, they have one more clip. Okay, let's go.
They want to hit the minimum of 4 clips you were saying with Erica. So
100%.
This is absurd.
okay. And this is the one you're saying from 7 days ago.
Mm-hmm. They're taking a while to pull it up.
Okay. While they're looking for that, do you want to continue?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
can I
yeah.
ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just
really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're gonna hold to the actual contract itself.
the contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have
respond.
a conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like
Let's have it your way. I want it to look like
still happy
we've
to have
done
the
everything
debate.
Andrew wanted to so that people can fairly assess the situation. So you have it your way. I
Totally
will not
fine.
ask a question.
Totally fair with me.
So are you good with her asking a question or
He
no?
said no.
Waiting for the clip.
Okay. So you want to wait for the clip first. Okay. You guys have it in the back? Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, still not ready.
You need the Jeopardy
Your team
thing.
told me they had it, so
That's what I heard. Okay, there we go.
come on, guys.
Did this crime. Okay?
Oh yeah, that's right, Lance. I forgot he looked like that. I legitimately forgot he looked like that. Oh god, yeah, I forgot. But like they were like, 'cause like everyone saw like him in the stuffed animals, like stuffed animal pajamas with the hoodie on. Like this is how legit Lance Twiggs looks, and I remember people were making fun of him like on Twitter, and or I completely forgot that's how he looked. Holy shit! Holy shit! Yeah.
Because Lance
I
Twiggs
can't hear this. My
has
thing
his
went out. Just tell me
DNA
what
on
it
the
said
towel.
longer. It's fine.
Lance Twiggs has his DNA on the rifle.
Lance Twiggs
And to
has
be
his
clear,
DNA on the
Lance
rifle.
Twiggs'
Said this- proceeded this 4
DNA
times,
was
but I don't
not
know why they feel
as
like they need
degraded
to-
as Tyler Robinson's DNA was on Tyler's rifle. It's Tyler's rifle.
Oh, you
but
also
Lance's
said, yeah, it's
DNA
not as degraded on the rifle.
Yeah, because I thought he was one of the things, but I've already that's what I mean when I say that. Like, it just seems like you're not actually here trying to engage, because even before you got to this, and I knew that you had some secret clip planned, I said to you when I rewatched the testimony, I realized that they didn't explicitly say Lance Twiggs. They said 5 other profiles were on it, and that his was the most degraded. So I hope your team feels fulfilled in playing that. Is there any more? I'm happy to play every clip that he has on the ready. Anybody?
You said you had some new evidence at the beginning of the.
Oh yeah, we should show that text
new.
message that you read,
Did you
just
wanna
because
share
I
that?
think that's important for the public. You shared it out of context,
I'll do it on my show. I'll share the text
so you're going to
message.
read it on my show, but not show it.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll show it on my show, but that's what I'll do. I'll show it on my
Can
show.
I ask why?
Well, because I want to drip out the evidence. You know, that's got to drip out that evidence, keep people coming back for the show, right?
I don't know if snark serves you so well.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'll release it there. Yeah, that's my intention. But yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, is that permitted?
Go ahead.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence, or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But
Can
I
you-
want to
can you
make sure
name
that we
one?
have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following
Is that
the
it?
case.
That's the
Yeah.
question. You're
Yeah,
just not
but, I mean,
following it
seems,
enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage.
Okay, let's see. His charges are aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, 3rd-degree felonies, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a misdemeanor, a Class A misdemeanor.
You're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler
Oh
Robinson.
yeah, that's true, because was it college or high school? I don't know, but it makes sense. There's probably at least one 17-year-old somewhere in the crowd, which would account as a minor.
Is guilty. I just think that you should,
All
like,
right.
can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's.
You can really, hang on. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play
Yeah.
clips out of context,
Yeah,
put me
yeah.
in the hot seat. So please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Yeah. So he's charged with aggravated murder, like if we get to the exact specifics. But yeah.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like.
Name all 7.
And I.
Can you name
think
all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have
Name
to put
'em.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder, because that's what carries
Okay.
a death
So
sentence.
murder.
in the state
She
of-
was right
No,
about
that's
that.
not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And
Next.
so just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all, is because aggravated murder, it's
And pause it so I could read it out first. allegation that he intentionally or unknowingly caused Charlie Kirk's death while knowingly creating a great risk of death to another person. This is the primary capital charge. Possible penalties include death, life without parole, or 25 years to life. Prosecutors have filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. Enhancements are alleged for targeting Kirk based on his political expressions / beliefs for committing the act in the presence of children. Okay, so now that we got that, so it means that he was knowingly creating a situation in which he intentionally would have killed other people then. Yeah. Yeah. So he killed Charlie Kirk while knowing to create an allegation that he intentionally great risk of death to another person. And doing a public shooting, even if you intended to kill one person, if you miss, you would have killed another person. Kind of like the guy who shot Trump, or at least attempted to, like, the guy who got him in the ear. He killed 2 people behind him and I think injured one of them while he directly hit Trump in the ear. So there was that. And he also had another assassin, yeah, and when he was having a dinner, that he didn't get that far, and I don't think he shot anybody, but he intended to shoot him, so that would probably also apply to him.
It's narrowly defined, and because it carries a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate someone.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people don't walk away?
No, I just want you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
then
and I'm going to say
them
again, because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also.
Here's the thing: if Candice Owens does know them, why wouldn't she say them? Because that would actually help her case out a lot more. Because Andrew, he got the first one wrong, which like that does look bad on him. I'll say that. But why is Candice Owens hiding it? Like, you can say all 7 of the charges because that is very useful towards you. That is very useful to help you. But let's see.
Showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon.
Wait. Felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. If she wants to go into specifics, because she said, no, it was not murder, it was aggravated murder. Let's see if she finishes it.
The next 2 charges are...
Yep. So she didn't go into the full exact detail of it. So because Andrew said murder, but she was like, no, it doesn't count because it's actually aggravated murder. She said felony discharge of a firearm, right? She didn't say the rest of it. So her logic would also apply to her. That's not the exact charge.
Are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
Yeah, obstruction of justice, 2 counts. This one is correct. She got that.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering.
Yep, she got that. She actually got that correct.
What's the specific charges, though?
That is them. Obstruction of justice, obstruction of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged.
No, just the charges and then 7?
Yeah, see, it's a bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay.
Violent offense committed in the presence of a child. A child? Wait. Robinson knew a child under the age of 14 was present. Damn, 14. That fucking sucks.
Got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's like you cannot say murder versus.
I mean, if that's the case, she wants to go on specifics. Then she basically got none of these wrong because she didn't go into full specific thing of it. What the fuck? Because like he is getting a murder charge. You could say it's a specific murder charge, but whatever.
Aggravated murder.
Distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence, and I actually find the defense is filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also.
Oh, yeah, of course. But yeah, if you guys kind of remember, during the case, they were specifically talking about only getting rid of that charge because they didn't want him to get the death penalty. So they didn't go into, oh, we're going to defend him from everything. They just went into, oh, we want to get at least a death sentence or 25 years of jail off of his likelihood of like being fucked over.
So again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know.
Oh my God. Fucking Candice. Of all the things, her saying that, Jesus Christ. Of all things, oh, at least be genuine. Oh, someone planted the gun. Oh, at least, oh, it was obviously Lance Twiggs. Oh, at least, oh, it was obviously Israel. Oh, Erica Kirk definitely had a hand in it. Oh, the French government definitely did something in relation to it. Like, her being genuine is basically, oh, this isn't exactly as I like it. Therefore, this conclusion that already filled my previous assumptions on these things I hated must apply.
One of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7
violent
I said offense in the presence of a minor.
In front of a child.
Yeah.
So 5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now I did notice something. I just was curious about. If I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm just curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate.
All right.
About the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
so I'm
have full permission to go through my phone. I don't need to cheat.
So the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia. And that was it. I downloaded it for Russia.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I don't need to I deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff
deeply
that I
care
don't
about
know.
the case,
Yeah.
I just, I have my other question.
Oh, yeah, I will say. I do like the professionalism in PBD where he asked, oh, am I allowed to check it? Are you sure? I do like that. I like that. Even though he was given it, it's like, it is a professional thing because this is still somebody's phone and private. This is literally their private life. You click on the wrong link, next thing you know, you see like porn or like nude pics or some shit. So yeah, I'm very glad he asked that.
About the steakhouse receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your questions.
So
yeah.
Nothing there.
Yeah, do you
need to
have
do
the
that.
steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming with the receipt. And that was what I was responding to. And he then dropped the receipt. He redacted elements of it. And I said, stay tuned. He's the one working on that story.
Okay, so you haven't actually confirmed that Robinson was at that steakhouse.
All I did, as I said earlier in this conversation, was I spoke to the owner when I broke that story. I think it was back in January. I spoke to the owner, understood what had happened, and that there was a receipt. That's it. That's the extent of what I shared is what happened.
Okay, so to be clear, there's no receipt.
I just said the opposite. I said there is a receipt.
Well, you don't have a copy of the receipt.
The receipt.
Yeah, there's that. So she doesn't have a copy because receipts typically they will show the address of the restaurant. They also do show like part of your credit card information. I think it also shows your full name, like I think they shows the card that was used as well, how much your purchase was, all that. But yeah, I think a little bit would have to be redacted, but the biggest thing would be that it also shows the exact time in which it was like used.
Was published online.
Yeah, right. With blurred
The
out.
person working on this story
Yeah.
that blurred that out
Mhm.
is what I was referring to when I said stay tuned and keep following his stuff, because he went to go do what I hadn't done, which was he interviewed the actual server.
So there's no evidence that Tyler was at that steakhouse.
I would say the receipt with his debit card number, it would be some hard evidence if that
I agree with that,
Yeah,
but-
so that's it.
Wait, going off of Candice Owens' logic, what if somebody took his credit card and then just used it so it was not Tyler Robinson? Because for the fingerprints, she was like, oh, someone else could have planted the gun. What if someone else, like an Israeli spy, used his card to try and save Tyler Robinson? I'm just saying, like the same logic applies.
But you're questioning me.
Also, that what if it's a shared account with his parents? Because some people have shared bank accounts and other people have access to them. Therefore, other people can make purchases with your name on your card because they're allowed to do it. I'm just asking questions.
Is there, as of right now,
He paid. If you're asking me, did he pay with a credit or debit card? The answer is yes.
No. Is there proof that that was actually his debit card that he paid with?
I think you should follow the person that is behind that story.
Well,
It's
the
more
reason I'm
something
asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we
Mhm.
feel are
But is there any actual
Utah 1102
evidence?
approved. I think speaking
Yeah.
to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt is good enough to put on our timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like, if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, what's the name on this?
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that having spoken to the owner, that the evidence is compelling enough to put.
And not only that, but your bank account would register where the purchase went or who it went to. So there's that too, which is the bank itself can actually verify where that charge came from and, all that too.
Onto my personal timeline of what took place on that day. That's where it's going to stay. And if it gets debunked, I'm happy to take it off. If that's what you mean, that's how an investigation works. Like I said, I did more than enough. It would definitely pass the test by the Utah 1102 rule, for sure, for certain.
The rule that she lied about and has actually no goddamn clue what it was. The one that she actually got wrong. But, yep. It was the one she was using, well, this is hearsay, but this is hearsay that can be used for the next trial, which is a criminal conviction. And it's allowed to be used in the preliminary before it gets used as evidence for the later trial. And then she was like, oh, it's not going to be used in the main trial immediately after I read it, the last video.
To be submitted as hearsay.
Yeah, beyond that, because they didn't even have receipts. They were like, Bob told me this.
But the question is, the receipt itself, it has not been verified to have been Tyler Robinson's.
I just want to say you're holding me to a higher standard than you are.
I'm not even holding you. I'm just
prosecution.
asking specifically.
Yeah, I've been very forthcoming. I've told exactly what happened. I spoke to the owner. I got the tip, and
so should that be added in an official timeline that
it's
you
in
give?
my timeline. It's my show, and we can add and subtract what we want, and we do. If
you
we
can
get
do
something
what you
wrong,
want, sure. But
cool,
I'm
I just wanted to
asking,
make sure.
should you include a thing that you know hasn't actually been verified to be Tyler Robinson's?
Yes, you should. If we're trying to build a timeline, you should. Yeah.
You don't think that falls
under... And then
under...
you should remove it if someone somehow debunks it. But I think that there is very strong evidence that is where he was, and that
What's the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
I'm actually all good with being... I feel like I've sufficiently answered your question about how I got
all
the
right,
information, what happened next. Would the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it? Yes. And I do believe that will happen. If it does not happen and it gets debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline that I share on my show.
That officer, the first officer that was up on the roof, do you remember his name?
Officer Bagley.
Yeah. What was his first name?
Christopher.
When Christopher got up on the roof, you talk a lot about how his camera died.
Well, he talked a lot about that during the preliminary
about his camera
hearing.
died.
Yeah.
Do you think that he planted that screwdriver up there?
No.
No. Who do you think planted it?
If we're just going.
Because using her hunch, it would be Lance Twiggs because his DNA was the majority one on that. Well, let's see.
Am I allowed to have an opinion?
Of course.
At this stage, I would say that I don't buy his assertion on the stand that he didn't check to see if anybody went onto the rooftop before he got up there. I do think that it's possible, it's at least plausible that the screwdriver was planted. I don't believe him. What I can say strongly is that his cam died at just the right time. His body cam died at just the right time. I think that, as you were just grilling me about whether or not I had got the merchant receipt for a debit card, that kind of makes difficult that we just have to sort of trust that a screwdriver was found and we don't have any should be evidence of a police body cam. But like I said, you accept that stuff and then are like, did you call the merchant and get, like, it just seems like you.
Well, I'm not adding.
Hold,
I'm
like
not
I said,
adding
you
this
hold the
to
prosecution to
Well,
the
wait a
state
second.
to a higher standard
I'm
than
not
you do to
adding
people.
unconfirmed evidence to an official timeline that I'm putting out either.
What do you mean an official timeline? This is my
Well, this is
timeline. I made it at home.
So then it would be official to your show?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then your official timeline, Candice Owens' official timeline,
Yeah.
includes a steakhouse stop that has not actually been confirmed at all.
Well, yeah, it hasn't even been discussed by the prosecution, so it's not.
Yeah, and that's the biggest weakness of it. Because I brought it up. If Candice Owens' show was really a gold mine of facts proving that Tyler Robinson didn't do it, why would the people in charge of getting him off of the fucking crime not use it? It's the most basic thing ever. Why would the people who are supposed to keep him alive and ensure that he gets the least possible punishment imaginable not use Candice Owens' show as evidence for what they believe? That's the biggest problem I see. Her defense, if Candice was right about everything, would be on every little detail of Candice's show and parodying it and using it towards, their official reason for why he didn't do it.
Not like you're debunking that it happened.
Well, there's no evidence for it. There's no good evidence for it at all. There's no camera there. And the steakhouse receipt itself has never been confirmed to be Tyler Robinson's.
I'm assuming this is just like a talking point they gave you, and you got to like keep pushing this, or like.
I've been following it very closely on X.
The receipt, you weren't even following the charges of Tyler Robinson, but you really wanted to know. I've been following it very closely on X.
Wait, you think
I'm calling owners of steakhouses and having a conversation. You're following Congo on X.
I literally followed the entire trial or the preliminary live. I was live with an attorney. We covered all of it. You think because I have a momentary lapse where I'm like, oh, it's murder? No, it's aggravated murder. Come on.
You didn't know any of the
That's
charges.
Splitting hairs.
No, that's not splitting. It means you didn't follow the preliminary hearing at all.
No, it doesn't mean
you
that
don't know
at all.
any of
That's
the charges that are
ridiculous.
against him when this is like getting literally to the crux, aggravated murder versus murder.
It's ridiculous.
A death sentence.
And not only that, let's point this out. One of the major things here is that this is your official timeline.
It's mine.
Yes. Who else could it be? Who else? It would be Candice Owens' timeline.
I just don't know what his issue is with my timeline.
What's your issue with that?
Well, so the issue is that the entirety of the evidence revolves around two people who claim that he was there and supposedly a receipt. There's supposedly a receipt where Tyler Robinson paid for his steak and his soft drink. No alcohol, right? No alcohol, right? You know nothing about the case. But anyway, this particular receipt, they could have called the merchant account, confirmed it, this type of thing. To date, this receipt has only the blurred information on it that would actually give you the information to confirm whose receipt it is. We have to date, nobody has confirmed that this was actually Tyler Robinson's receipt. And yet inside of Candice Owens' timeline, which she states over and over again, when she says, this is the longest 13 hours, this is 13 and a half hours, the requirement for about roughly 5.5 or 6 hours of that is that he went to the steakhouse. And that's not been confirmed at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like saying that I spoke to the owner of the steakhouse is me, like, not just being.
I have to check. Let's hypothetically check. What if the receipt has a time posted, and then we could check what time he shot Charlie Kirk? Because I think it was around 11.
on X looking at opinions, but actually doing the legwork. And that's why like I said, if you think this builds up a rapport with your audience and makes you seem like a serious person, we don't have to keep belaboring the point here. I feel like I've demonstrated that I did as much as I could to confirm this when it came in. I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, obviously took down everything he said, noted that there was, in fact, a receipt that he pulled. That receipt that was published is real. A debit card and a credit card was used. If for some reason somebody misidentified something down the line, or we find out it's a different Tyler Robinson, I'm happy to remove it from my timeline. But for right now, I think that there's enough under the Utah 1102 rule for me to keep it there. I don't really think we need to keep going into circles about this receipt. It's my timeline.
I don't know why the 1102 rule would apply here for your
because
timeline.
You will constantly cite things that are said in that courtroom that have less evidentiary support than me contacting and speaking with the owner of the restaurant. It's not like I dreamed it, as to use your expression. So it's in my timeline, and I'm going to keep it there if that's
sure.
Cool.
You can keep whatever
Great.
you want there.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's no evidence he was ever there.
Okay, thank you. I think
No
we
hard
agree with
evidence
the point.
anyway. Yeah, I'm fine with closing.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before we go into ad break, right after this, will be final thoughts. I'll be asking both of you if anything on your opinion, thoughts changed.
Okay, here it is. So the receipt does specify a time. Cowboy Steakhouse, Penglitch, Utah, roughly 3 hours of South Valley of Orem. Date 9/10/25. Order time 8:55 p.m. Payment/checkout time 9:47. Items: a $27 steak and soft drinks $38. This receipt has been circulated online as possible location. Restaurant owner later publicly described a quiet lone male customer who staff thought resembled Robinson from the FBI photos, who ordered a medium rare sirloin with vegetables, baked potato on the night of September 10 and kept to himself. The owner of the staff contacted the FBI the next day. Investigations received only the last 4 digits of the car used. The receipt itself has not been officially authenticated in court filings belonging to Robinson. Charlie Kirk was shot approximately 12:23 p.m. on September 10. And so Tyler Robinson ordered the steak at 8:55. Yeah, at 8:55 p.m., whereas Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 p.m. Let's see. Let's see. How long was the location from the school? Now that's the next thing. So it's about a 3-hour and 10-minute drive, or 3-hour and 40-minute drive. Okay, then. So looking at that, the receipt's not authenticated, but so that means Charlie Kirk died at 12:23 p.m. and the receipt was ordered at 8:55 p.m. It is a 3-hour drive. So that means he had approximately, I would say like a little over 6 hours to pretty much drive there. And 6 hours for a 3-hour drive is actually possible. So basically what she's saying is the receipt, the one that she is using to prove that he wasn't there, actually is drivable within the time it takes to get from the campus Charlie Kirk died at to the exact place he got, because it's only a 6-hour drive. So yeah, this is about 8 to 9 hours after the shooting. Okay, yeah, oh yeah, I got that wrong then. Not 6. But so 8 to 9 hours after the shooting, and he had a 3-hour drive. Most people who drive a lot could easily do a 3-hour drive in like one go immediately. So not only is this actually pretty bad if it like is authenticated and true, but he can drive within the exact time, less than it would take to get to the restaurant, and then it would take for him to buy a steak. Because he was on the run for a while. He jumped off the roof, then he left the gun in the woods, and then he got in his car and drove away. Meaning it was obviously more than possible for him to get out of the city where Charlie Kirk died and get there. So this is actually not even a very good receipt in itself. Damn. So the receipt doesn't even help her case out that much that it wasn't Tyler Robinson, because she assumes that, oh, that means he wasn't there. Actually, the time is 8 hours fucking later. So that means he could have easily got there if he did a one-shot drive. Maybe he was driving other places, but like he could have easily got there if he decided to drive immediately. And not only that, that would also mean that even if he like fucked around for 4 hours and then drove there, as long as he stayed roughly near the area, he would still be able to get there pretty much exactly on time.
On the case, and then we'll finish it up from there. So with that being said, a 3.5-minute break, and then we'll come back for final thoughts. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury,
yeah, that's good.
To hear, and of course, for all the people that are watching, I was just whispering to them here before we wrap it up. I think whether you're a fan of Andrew or not, whether you're a fan of Candice or not, nobody can dispute the fact that these guys agreed to sit down and talk live. Others were thinking this was pre-recorded. This is not pre-recorded, just so everybody knows. This is purely live. This is a little bit scarier than pre-recorded, because pre-recorded can do edits. So whether you agree with them or not, let's make sure we respect both of them for having this sit down. And before the final thoughts, I want to make sure you guys hear that from me as well, for inviting me here as well.
Of course.
I do know one day, I think it was last week, you sent a message on one of our accounts. You said, can I talk to Patrick? We got on the call. You said, Patrick, can you moderate this? And then I said, great, let's do this. And so before we wrap up, final thoughts, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TP.
Yeah, that's true. And the majority of it was saying, oh, Lance Twiggs could have done it because of this. But then when it comes to Israel and France, France was the one she pretty much had the least about. And then Israel was like, oh, they could have left their phones there. They could have been investigated. But then like, what the fuck? Yeah, so her entire investigation basically is just Lance Twiggs was the obvious person that did it, but also for some reason the Mossad and the French government teamed up with it. But also she trusts the US government, which is a puppet to Israel, with the information that she got a death threat from the French government, who is also working with Israel in terms to kill Charlie Kirk and get away with him. But also Erica Kirk is in on it. Therefore, she is likely to be a culprit or at least an accomplice in it. So then, therefore, she trusts the U.S. government and Tulsi Gabbard, who is a direct person under Donald J. Trump, to learn the information and answer questions about verifiable French intelligence being bad, and also that this person has a thing where they want to kill her. But at the same time, the U.S. government is an Israeli puppet, and we're being paid, and the government's being paid off by Israel, and that includes Donald Trump. So why would you trust Donald Trump to protect you from the French government, who's working with Israel, who's controlling America? But then it's also Lance Twiggs was most likely the shooter because, well, he could have planted the gun there, so that means he's also working with them. And then Erica Kirk, well, she didn't stay with her kids, therefore she's likely a culprit. But then also, she didn't answer all the questions or have an interview or was thoroughly investigated. Therefore, she's also a culprit. So no matter whether she stayed with her kids and decided to stay as out of the media as possible, she would be a culprit. But if she decided to answer all the questions, it's not enough for Candice, and therefore she is a culprit. But yeah, this whole thing basically can be turned into Candice doesn't like Israel, Candice doesn't like France, and Candice just wants Tyler Robinson to not be guilty because she believes she's the smartest person on the planet, the main character, the person everybody has to go into, the smartest person on the planet, the greatest mind to ever exist. And even her receipt thing, which was 8 hours later, would actually not really help out her point much because it's like, oh, he couldn't possibly have been in both places at once. But then she's also using the gun was planted by something else. So it could either be that somebody else used his card at that restaurant to buy that stuff, but it also then could just be he drove there because 3 hours is not a long drive, especially to get to buy a food from a restaurant 8 hours later. But yeah. So it's all basically put together as a easily disconstructible conspiracy theory that predominantly a bunch of absolute fucking retards would use. Because the person that most benefited from Charlie Kirk dying has been Candice Owens' wallet. TPUSA has not benefited from Charlie's death at all. In fact, they are struggling because of it. But yeah, there's that. And then obviously, leftists have a lot to gain because, well, Tyler Robinson had a transgender boyfriend. That was one thing. His politics changed from his conservative family's values. That's another thing. But then also it's convenient for them because, oh, well, Israel didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was, no, Israel did kill Charlie Kirk. That would be useful towards them because then it would not force them to deal with the reality that Tyler Robinson was a left-leaning guy who thought Charlie Kirk was a fascist, who then shot and killed him, and then admitted it to his boyfriend and all that. So no amount of evidence is capable of proving to her otherwise that he is the most likely culprit, as all the information we have out there exists. But any amount of evidence that she doesn't believe to be true immediately becomes somebody else put the gun, oh, Israel did this, blah, 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 that equaled that. And it just becomes a retarded third worldist mindset where it allows, I'm going to say, a lot of left-leaning people to just avoid the topic that the guy who killed Charlie Kirk was obviously a leftist. Because I remember they were also trying to blame Nick Fuentes, but why would a Nick Fuentes fan call Charlie Kirk a fascist? Because they usually think Charlie Kirk would be too weak on his stances. So that wouldn't even make sense. But yeah, there's that. And it's like, hey, catch fascists, Bella Ciao, a anti-fascism song. And then he obviously used the Helldivers code, which means most likely he was a gamer for that, but Jesus Christ. So all of it just comes down to this is all bullshit, and Candice Owens just loves making money off of Charlie Kirk's dead body. That's literally it. That's literally all she has.
USA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything. When I ask her about her claims about Erica Kirk, yeah, it's just funning. It's just funning, you know? Or, yeah, I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, but, or answer some questions, but you know what? I don't even know if she has. Maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. Hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay. She's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero.
Zilch.
And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence? We're just asking questions.
Yeah, and that too. But that not only that, but if Israel and France are involved, that implies the Mossad. I don't know what the French intelligence agency's name is, but like those guys deal with guns all the fucking time. Why would they not have come up with a far better, more calculated, easy to do plan than this? Because doing a public assassination of Charlie Kirk in front of like tens of thousands of people on a campus, but millions of people live, was fucking stupid. Would have been the dumbest thing to ever do in order to try and get away with it. Intelligence agencies would be able to do it far more effectively, far more convincingly, and without the public noticing it. Like nowhere near as much. But yeah.
It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things. Andrew, how many times do you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things, and that makes me skeptical. Yep. It's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candice this entire debate. Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing. Unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay.
And that thing too, Andrew said 75 to 85%. Candice said 0%. She gave herself no room for accommodating her values or changing them. Andrew has a little bit of wiggle room because he said 85 to 75. Candice, that means the slightest amount of evidence actually hurts her opinion because she can't admit anything is officially correct because it would then hurt her 0% claim that he did it.
Fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that, but there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy, nothing for any of her conspiracies, not a zero, zilch, and she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now, whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candice.
Well, I think that is quite a conclusion. Admitting somewhere, maybe we stalemated. It probably signifies what I've been saying from the beginning, that you didn't feel that you were strong on the actual facts and the evidence, which I was willing to engage with you. I wanted to go over the screwdriver. I wanted to go over the towel and the things that you've mentioned, and you wanted to then move the conversation into a defense of Erica Kirk and her character. And what I've said about Erica, which is my opinion. And I have not edited that opinion after discussing with you. I would like to extend a compliment to you for being willing to sit down and to have the conversation. I still walk away feeling that the people who are jumping on the bandwagon about this case don't care about this case. They don't care about Erica Kirk. It tends to be follow that they take a meeting with Turning Point USA and they come out and suddenly have a lot of junk to say about Candice Owens. And I do want to also stress that Turning Point USA tried to pepper him with something as a surprise. He showed clips that were meant to be a surprise. I did no such thing. I stressed to PBD from the beginning that I was grateful he was taking Miss on and that I wanted this to be a clean debate because I believe I can win this on the merits. And I believe that I did win this fully on the merits by engaging the evidence of what has happened. I do still believe that there is more evidence which supports that there are more people involved and that Tyler Robinson has been set up, and that none of the evidence that was presented was in any way overwhelming, which is why I think you wanted to move to end that discussion quickly and to speak to me about France and to talk about this Panguitch receipt.
Well, that's the thing. You brought up France as part of why Charlie Kirk died. Therefore, it is an official part of your actual opinion. You brought, and not only that, but the receipt itself is also an official part of your opinion. He has not gone off topic. He's been critiquing your exact opinion. Holy
and my
shit.
timeline. I want to remind people that a lot of the at-home investigators, which you were open to, as you called them, internet sleuths. I think it was on a show that you did right after Charlie was assassinated that internet sleuths would solve this. This is the reason why Charlie, a year on, is still a conversation every single day trending on Twitter. I knew Charlie. I cared about Charlie. I care about finding out what the
care about Charlie enough to accuse his wife, TPUSA, of killing him, getting harassment on her, ensuring that people associate her with his death, trying to destroy the company he built up from the fucking ground, pretending that every single one of his values are yours rather than looking at what his values actually were when he was alive. Magically saying that he came in a dream and then told you all he was the one who like was betrayed and all that stuff. Let's just face it. Candice doesn't give a fuck about Charlie. She hates Charlie. She hates Charlie more than anybody else. She's the one who benefited off of his dead grave more than everybody else. Benefited off of lying of Charlie Kirk's death more than anybody else. She hates Charlie because it's easy to tell. Why else would she be putting Charlie's wife, company, and everybody else in jeopardy, as well as spreading all these obviously false claims about Charlie? She hates Charlie, she hates TPUSA, she hates everything Charlie stood for, and she's jealous that Erica Kirk was the one who got married to Charlie instead of her. Charlie stopped being friends with her because she was an insane retard. And the same thing, like Ben Shapiro got rid of her because she was an insane retard. Hell, you have Nick Fuentes also recently saying, no wonder Ben Shapiro got rid of Candice Owens because she's an insane fucking retard. She's retarded, her fan base is retarded, everything about her is just, oh, I feel this, therefore this is true, but also these guys are involved. And she has absolutely nothing. And all the people saying she won the debate are literally just her stupid fucking fan base with an IQ lower than fucking 30. Let's face it, her fan base is third worlders and opportunistic leftists. Opportunistic leftists who don't want them to be associated with Charlie Kirk being killed by one of their guys, and third worlders who just hate Israel, and therefore anything that leads to Israel being bad is considered good for them. So they'll take it as like exactly what it is.
Truth is here. My heart is in the right place. I think anybody who watches my show or even just watched this debate knows that if I get something wrong, I'll instantly correct it and own it. I'm not arrogant. I don't need to sit here and pretend that I didn't misspeak on the Lance thing. It hasn't been ruled out. But you saw that he just really wanted to hammer that point. You know, part of being a well-meaning person is to concede when you are wrong, to take something off a timeline when you know it's not right.
She literally has done none of it. She literally has done absolutely none of that this entire debate. Holy shit.
And I would like to think that that is why I have earned the audience that continues to follow me, because they know my heart's in the right place, that I deeply cared about Charlie and I deeply care about the answers. I want to thank Andrew's team who are providing the fact checks. It's a very small room that they're in. I want to, as always, thank my team who worked really hard to make this happen and flip this set. And to you, PBD, just for being a great moderator. I think very fair, letting us both speak and making sure that Andrew got out of this what he wanted, which was a little more than what I wanted. But I'm very content with how I dealt with this. And I trust, I don't need to convince the audiences with the magic trick of what they need to think about this debate. They can watch it and draw their own conclusions.
Beautiful. Fair from both of you. I think the audience won. And again, from the beginning, all of this is because of how much love and respect we have for Charlie Kirk, a great man that's no longer here with us. His 1-year anniversary is coming up here. I can't believe it's that quick that is here. The audience, I think you also won if you did. Support the Crucible, support the Candice Show, support the PBD Podcast, subscribe to the channel. This is how you help these voices get out even more, especially going into future when this happens. You want a lot of independent creators to have these types of discussions. And last but not least, the two of you, I respect you guys again for having this conversation. It is not easy to do so. Hopefully this will lead to more discussions. A lot of different things we talked about. I'm sure there will be a lot of follow-up. With that being said, take care, everybody. God bless. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
So yeah, that was that. Candice versus Andrew Wilson. But yeah, I'm just gonna say Candice had fucking nothing. Holy shit. But yeah, this was it. And all I got out of it was Candice is an insufferable retard. And like literally everything she says is a house of cards built on lies and built on her own assumptions that don't even make sense. Then her receipt, as I saw, didn't even make sense. And then not only that, but her assumption that Lance Twiggs was the one who put it there also didn't make sense. And then the part where she said, oh, someone else obviously wrote that message because they can't switch between the way he wrote on the bullets and the messaging. So that means that two people had to do various different messagings for that to make sense and all that bullshit. And then the close thing is like, oh, well, it's a bad quality image, therefore it's not him. But like, when you look at everything independently, like the sneakers were the same, his general physique was the same, his general value change in college was the same, the looks at bulge, ooh woo, the furry bullshit was the same, the boyfriend who's transitioning into the girl was obviously there, and then him telling his boyfriend that, oh, I'm sorry, I did this, the receipt being fully capable of a drive to get to the restaurant actually doesn't even make her point any better. It actually helps this point. The gun being given to him by his granddad obviously helps with this. Him being able to use guns for at least as long as he was a kid, seeing from the pictures, makes sense of why he was not, why he was not that bad at shooting from that range either. Like all these things actually hurt her point so badly, but apparently it's Erica Kirk, Israel, the French government, and all these other things betrayed Charlie, and that's her logical conclusion. But yeah, anyways, this is over. Candice Owens gave me a fucking like brain rot. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna say it. She was annoying as fuck. Holy shit.